Second Part. Chapter 21 Ice Pattern Repeating Crossbow. Chen Ci leaned on the bedside. With a thought, he opened the trading channel, clicked on Search and Filter, and sorted the blue products by price from low to high. Electric toothbrush, blue, an electric toothbrush without electricity. Warm stone, blue, a self-heating stone with a temperature equivalent to a hand warmer. Ebony ironwood, blue, fine wood, which can be used for building construction and weapon making. Its hardness is comparable to pig iron. Ice crystal, blue, a specialty crystal of the eternal frozen soil, it can continuously absorb heat and keep the room cool. After continuously absorbing heat for 1 day, it needs to be placed in an environment below 0 degrees Celsius to recover before it can be used again. These are the 4 materials Chen Ci selected that are cheap and suitable for testing synthesis capabilities. He spent 44 units of iron blocks to purchase an electric toothbrush, 5 units of warm stone, 9 units of ebony ironwood, and 6 units of ice crystals. Let's start the lottery. Let's do a little experiment first and put the knife down. Chen Ci rubbed his palms. With a thought in mind, I summoned the synthesis furnace, using crossbow arrows as the main material, and the fangs dropped by cheetahs and lynxes as auxiliary materials. Main material, crossbow arrows, white, auxiliary material, fangs, blue, *3. We saw that the synthesis success rate was 70% and the mutation rate was 20%. Without hesitation, confirm the synthesis directly. Obtain Fang armor-piercing arrow, blue, *1. I'm lucky today, it was a success. Chen Ci clicked to check it with a happy face. Fang armor-piercing arrow, blue. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Attribute, armor-piercing. Introduction, this is an armor-piercing arrow that has a penetrating effect on armor defense. This is good, it can be used as a trump card. It should be very effective when facing scaly beasts or armored people in the future. After collecting the armor-piercing arrows, Chen Ci worked non-stop to prepare for the second synthesis. He used the newly collected electric toothbrush as the main material. He tried wood and stone as auxiliary materials, and the success rate was less than 40%. Only iron blocks were higher and could reach 70%. Main material, electric toothbrush, blue, auxiliary material, iron block *5. Confirm synthesis. As a stream of spiritual power was absorbed by the synthesis furnace, a bang sound was heard, and a stream of black smoke came out from above. My heart skipped a beat. Chen Ci immediately received a message from the synthesis furnace that the synthesis failed. Then there was another message that the residue was absorbed by the synthesis furnace, and the synthesis talent upgrade progress increased to 0.1%. As the information continued to come, Chen Ci knew that due to the joint action of the Ruin World and Blue Star's will, the synthetic furnace had merged with his soul and transformed into his innate skill. The synthetic furnace is currently in a state of mixture of matter and spirit. As its innate ability, the synthetic furnace can gain a certain level of growth by synthesizing and absorbing spiritual substances. Regardless of the success or failure of the synthesis, it will grow. Finally, I know how to upgrade synthetic talents. In fact, Chen Ci already knew in the chat channel that talent skills can be upgraded, but according to the survivor's summary, everyone's talent upgrade method is different. Even if 2 people's talent skills are strength enhancement, the improvement methods are not exactly the same. Although he knew how to upgrade synthetic talent skills, looking at the current progress, it was still far from being upgraded, so he didn't pay special attention to it. Chen Ci is preparing to synthesize an important piece of equipment. This synthesis is also to verify some of his guesses about his talent skills. The conjecture to be verified is that if the synthesis does not mutate, then the synthesis result will most likely be an enhancement of the main material. He planned to use Zhuge Liannu as the main material, and the auxiliary materials as ice crystal and ebony iron wood. He repeatedly tested the proportions of various auxiliary materials, and finally found that the combination of 4 units of ice crystal and 5 units of ebony iron wood had the highest success rate and the lowest mutation rate. Plan confirmed. Synthetic Zhuge Liannu, success rate 85%, mutation rate 20%, are you sure? Confirm the synthesis. Chen Ci stared at the synthesis furnace nervously. As a large amount of mental power was extracted, he felt that his mind was empty, a heavy sleepiness surged up, and he almost fell down. He pinched his thigh and used the pain to drive away the rising sleepiness. Although his face was grimacing in pain, he could clearly see the joy in his expression, because he saw the orange light of the synthesis furnace shining just now, and the system prompted that the synthesis was successful. Obtain ice pattern repeating crossbow, orange, *1. Looking at the greatly changed Liannu on the table, he quickly checked its attributes. Ice pattern repeating crossbow. Level 0. Quality, rare. Attributes, magazine capacity 15, attached skill freeze arrow. Skill, freezing arrow, consumes energy to fire an enchanted arrow, freezing the enemy and reducing the enemy's movement speed by 50%. Introduction, Zhuge Liannu has been enchanted with unknown abilities and has the ability to freeze. Currently, the freezing energy can be used 5 times. When the energy is exhausted, it needs to be recharged or placed below 0 degrees Celsius to recover automatically. Picking it up and observing it carefully, the ice pattern repeating crossbow is overall dark black, with dark blue veins all over the crossbow body. The material has changed from ordinary wood to ebony iron wood. The hardness has greatly increased. It has a heavy feel after buying it. Ice cold. It's awesome. The additional skill freezing arrow is a magic equipment. Sure enough, the synthesis is based on the enhancement of the main materials. As long as the mutation rate is not high, there will be no bad situation where the weapon turns into a pillow. Chen Ci confirmed that his conjecture was correct. As long as the mutation rate is controlled and the success rate is increased, the main synthetic material will most likely be strengthened and will not turn into something else. We will try the law of mutation of the main materials later. I originally planned to synthesize it again, but now I really can't stand it anymore. This time, the synthesis of the repeating crossbow consumed 2 points of mental power at once. He is very sleepy now and has no energy to continue. Synthesized. Returned to bed and fell asleep. A night of silence. In the early morning of the next day, before the sky got bright, Chen Ci was already standing in the yard holding Tang Hengdao. The quality of his sleep last night was very good. The air in the morning felt slightly cool, and he could already feel the chill of autumn, especially for him. He was also wearing summer quick-drying clothes. Let's check the trading channel tonight to see if there are any clothes at a suitable price. It's time to prepare winter clothes. Chen Ci was warming up while thinking about preparing warm clothes. After the warm-up was completed and his body moved, he practiced the Xuanqiu sword technique on the spot. After putting the knife away, he was already sweating profusely, and there was a vague heat rising from the top of his head. At this time, the early morning sunlight had already shined through the cracks in the fence and onto Chen Ci. The warm sunlight allowed Chen Ci to calm down his breathing slightly. He felt the blood flowing in his body. He took out a red fruit from the inventory, took a look at it, and put it in the mouth. When he took a bite, the juice flowed out, the flavor was excellent, the shape was strange, and the taste was sweet. Chen Ci felt that this was the most delicious fruit he had ever eaten in his life. After all the red fruits were swallowed, Chen Ci felt a stream of heat slowly surge from his stomach and flow to his limbs. He was not panic about this. He had already experienced it once when he took the energy fruit last time. With his previous experience, he immediately started to use the Xuanqiu sword technique. Over and over again. When Chen Ci felt the heat in his body dissipate, he looked up and saw that the sun was almost above his head. Now he was soaked all over, and there seemed to be a fire burning in his stomach, and he made a gurgling sound at the same time. The intense hunger made people go crazy. Chen Ci didn't bother to wash up and tidy up. He ran directly to the kitchen and found the remaining barbecue from yesterday. He swallowed it in several bites. His hunger subsided, but he was still very hungry, so he took out some more. I only felt 70% full after eating 2 servings of dry food. The more you practice this knife skill, the more rice you will eat. If you can't eat dry food, you have to eat meat, preferably high-quality meat. Chen Ci glanced at the cabinet where the meat was kept, and there were 3 high-quality meat steaks in it. I heard on the chat channel that eating high-quality meat steak can improve your physique. I don't know if it's true or not. I'll try grilling it at night. He is now more concerned about whether he is hungry than whether he is getting stronger. After eating, Chen Ci felt refreshed and focused on himself. The morning's practice made his clothes soaked several times, exuding an unpleasant smell. I can't stand it anymore. Put the buckler on the shelf and go take a shower. He frowned in disgust. He went to the workshop and put all the 300 small bucklers made yesterday on the shelves at the price of wood *20, stone *16, iron *4, and glass *1 for each small buckler. It is worth mentioning that each order is listed separately and divided into 4 orders of 100, 100, 80 and 20. Then Chen Ci made 5 more wooden barrels and put them in the inventory together with the previous one. He put on the Rotten armor and climbed out of the fence with the Tang Hengdao. Chapter 22 Lu Xiaoya's Surprise. The road to the river went smoothly and there was no danger. The area near his shelter was relatively remote, and the surrounding vegetation was not lush. However, there were grasslands and forests with lush vegetation to the south of the sanctuary, and most herbivores were more willing to go there. To the south, this also attracts carnivores to follow. When he came to the river, Chen Ci found that the river had become full of life, and he could see a few small fish swimming by from time to time. It would be great if there was a fishing net. Pay attention to the trading channel to buy one later. Chen Ci's eyes moved and he remembered this in his heart. He took out the wooden barrel from the inventory, first fetched water and took a cold shower while standing by the river. There was no one around for several kilometers, and he didn't care about being exposed. After taking a bath, Chen Ci took out all the other wooden barrels, filled them with water one by one, then put them all back into the inventory, and quickly returned to the shelter. After returning to the shelter, Chen Ci first went to the trading channel and spent 3 units of wood to purchase a wooden ladder. He climbed up to the roof through the ladder, took out the bucket in the inventory, and poured all the river water in the bucket into the roof water tank. After 4 trips like this, he finally filled the water tank. Chen Ci looked at the water tank with satisfaction. It won't be used up for a while. After finishing the water problem, Chen Ci opened his personal trading channel non-stop to check the sales of the products on the shelves. A large wave of information flashed by quickly, most of which were purchase information and information about successful transactions. All small bucklers had been sold. Weapons, armor and food were currently the best sellers on the market. There was no need to worry about selling them. They would all be snapped up as soon as they were put on the shelves. Harvest wood *2000, stone *1600, iron *320, glass *20. With the joy of a good harvest, Chen Ci ran to the workshop and assigned the task of making 450 small bucklers on the tool table again. He wanted to take advantage of the huge profit period of small bucklers to hoard more supplies and strive to upgrade to level 3 asylum as soon as possible. Place. Chen Ci's basic materials have been upgraded enough, but there are still 2 drawings left. The resource building is okay. Some survivors have seen it, mainly the altar drawing. Until now, no survivor has seen the altar drawing. The survivor alliances in the chat channel have all issued high bounty orders, but I heard that no one has been able to claim the bounty successfully. Of course, it is also possible that some survivors have claimed it, but they have not announced it in the chat channel in order to keep it confidential. After withdrawing his thoughts, the first priority before Chen Ci was to store food, especially meat. Thinking of this, he stopped delaying, packed it up, and climbed out of the fence gate. In the afternoon, Chen Ci will go to the previous bush to search for supplies and hunt small animals if he encounters them. Half a day passed quickly. The sun gradually set. In the distance, Chen Ci walked towards the shelter expressionlessly. When he came to the door, he flexibly turned into the shelter. After returning to the shelter, Chen Ci's tense nerves relaxed, but his face was still a little ugly. Chen Ci sat beside the wooden table with a dull expression and murmured in a low voice, "No wonder there are so few meat orders on the trading channel. At first, I thought they were all for personal use. I didn't expect that hunting in the wild is so difficult. After searching all afternoon, I didn't find any treasure chests, and I didn't catch any animals. I kind of underestimated the cunningness of animals in the wild. Chen Xiai encountered many prey in the afternoon, but these small animals were very alert. He had just raised his crossbow, and they had already noticed his presence and had already hid in the grass and shrubs and disappeared. After going back and forth several times, Chen Xiai changed his goal to look for supplies and treasure chests. Unexpectedly, he was very unlucky today and didn't encounter a single treasure chest. Chen Xiai calmed down, exhaled slowly, and carefully summarized the gains and losses. After all, he was just a homebody before, rarely going out, and had never been exposed to hunting or fighting. The previous victories and the large gains from recent transactions made him. Some people are arrogant and think that survival in the world of ruins is easy. Now comes the slap in the face. Today's events reminded Chen Xiai that the world of ruins is not as simple as he thought, and reality is not a game. You can get supplies by moving the mouse a few times. After some self-awareness, this failure experience allowed him to re-recognize himself. Until Chen Xiai entered the Lord stage, every exploration and campaign was fully prepared before taking action, which indirectly reduced a lot of losses. After calming down, Chen Xiai found a piece of charcoal, wrote and drew on a wall in the living room, summarizing and planning what must be completed in the short term. The first is food. Enough food must be obtained in the near future, and the amount must be enough to ensure that he can survive the acid rain test. Next is the clothes. The weather is getting colder, and he is still wearing summer quick-drying clothes, and the clothes are already a little tattered, so he needs to prepare thick clothes. There are winter clothes for sale on the trading channel, but they are ridiculously expensive. Looking at the price $99.99, it seems that they are not sincere in selling them. Finally, there is water. He is not short of water at the moment. The river water is very clear. After heating and cooking, it is safe to drink. He is just worried that the acid rain will pollute the river water if it lasts too long, but he will bring some more water in the next 2 days and put it in the house. It's okay inside. The other most urgent thing is to improve your strength. This can be done step by step and there is no rush. Looking at the list of matters in front of him, Chen Xiai felt that his goal was clear and he was no longer blind. Other side. While Chen Xiai was planning her goals, Lu Xiaoye was also counting the harvest. She had a great harvest today. Not only did she collect 150 units of cotton, she also found a bronze treasure chest. After she opened the bronze treasure chest, she gained a piece of food, a pair of high-quality speed boots that could increase her movement speed, and a blueprint. The excited Lu Xiaoye couldn't wait to share her joy with others, and a person automatically appeared in her mind. Lu Xiaoye 11, Brother Chen, I have good news and bad news to tell you. Which one do you want to hear? Lu Xiaoye's private message made Chen Xiai, who was arranging the barbecue grill, stunned. In his impression, Lu Xiaoye spoke very crisply and neatly every time, so neatly that Chen Xiai sometimes even forgot her gender. It seems that something good has happened. Otherwise, why would you be so happy? Chen Xiai responded with a curious look on his face, then let's hear the bad news first. It will be bitter first and then sweet. Lu Xiaoye was impatient. The bad news is that I can no longer trade cotton to you in the future. After speaking, Lu Xiaoye paused for a while, waiting for Chen Xiai to ask more questions before telling him the good news. Chen Xiai didn't think this news was bad news. Now that the price of torches in the trading channel was fixed at 3 units of wood, making torches might as well free up time to make all small bucklers. He did not reply to Lu Xiaoye immediately, but waited for a while, teasing her before asking, "What is the good news?" When Lu Xiaoye saw that Chen Xiai had not replied for a long time, she thought he was really angry. She was about to take the initiative to explain when she saw Chen Xi's question. Lu Xiaoye immediately replied, "This is good news." Then sent an item introduction. Drawing of fine cotton-padded clothes. This is a drawing of fine-quality cotton-padded clothes. The cotton-padded clothes produced have stronger thermal insulation properties and are a must-have for winter. Materials required: cotton or wool *5, cloth or animal skin *2. Chen Xiai looked at the introduction sent by Lu Xiaoya, and was really pleasantly surprised this time. I just sent you a pillow when I fell asleep. Lu Fengyue, you are really a lucky star. Chen Xiai 997, this is not good news for you. This is a huge surprise. I was just worried about my winter clothes. Lu Xiaoya's eyebrows curved, and sure enough, if someone shares happiness, happiness will be doubled. Chen Xiai congratulated her and envied her luck. Afterwards, the two of them chatted and carefully planned how to make better use of this blueprint. Chen Xiai mainly made suggestions. After all, the blueprint was not his, and he could not provide the raw materials. The profit was destined to be lost to him. After some discussion, they decided to take advantage of the high prices of winter clothing to carry out small-scale slow shipments and starvation marketing in exchange for a large amount of resources. Then they used the resources to purchase large quantities of raw materials such as animal skins, cloth, and hair, and stock them until the weather gets colder. Sell. Lu Xiaoya's short-term mission is to collect all the cotton around the shelter before the acid rain test. At the same time, she also needs to make clothes and sell them in small quantities in exchange for basic resources. Before ending the chat, Lu Xiaoya traded 2 sets of cotton-padded clothes for Chen Xiai, and also sent a private message to Chen Xiai not to refuse if he was a friend. Unable to refuse, Chen Xiai looked at the cotton clothes on the table and sighed, there are many friends and many paths, so it's better to make more friends. Sprinkling a pinch of salt on the fine steak, Chen Xiai opened his private message and found Wang Zixuan. He suddenly had a good idea. Chapter 23 Horned Bee Swarm. Chen Xiai 997, Zixuan, are you free now? Wang Zixuan also replied instantly, yes, what's the matter with Brother Chen? Chen Xiai 997, I know a friend and have cooperated with each other several times. I found that this person is good and has rich resources. I would like to introduce him to you. Then he briefly talked about the situation of Lu Xiaoya's shelter, focusing on the drawings for making cotton clothes. Wang Zixuan was also very straightforward, Brother Chen, as long as you think it's okay, send me her name and I'll send her an invitation to join the group. Everyone in the market world has their real name, and those with the same name have a suffix number, so you don't have to worry about adding the wrong person. Chen Xiai sent Lu Xiaoya's name and number, and also sent a private message to Lu Xiaoya to explain the situation of the small group. She readily accepted the invitation to join the group. Chen Xiai 997, welcome Miss Lu to join our small group. The area around her shelter is rich in cotton and pasture. Everyone, please introduce yourself and contact us if necessary. Chen Xiai gave a brief introduction to Lu Xiaoya without going into too much detail. Once they had traded materials with each other a few times, they would become familiar with each other. Lu Yang too, welcome new students, my resource is iron. If you need iron, please contact me. Miss Lu, do you have any special powers? Chen Xiai covered his face, he was still the same as before. Following a burst of criticism against Lu Yang, everyone introduced themselves. Lu Xiaoya got a general understanding of each other's situation in the group, and they all added each other as friends. Wang Zixuan 38, everyone happens to be here right now, so let's start today's exchange meeting in advance. Let me start by saying that I got a blueprint for a water purifier today. Plastic is needed to make the raw materials. If you have plastic, don't go to the market. It's a deal, I'll buy them all. Lu Igua 8, great, Zixuan has the blueprint of the water purifier. We don't have to go to the trading channel to buy it. I'll pay attention to the plastic later. Indeed, Chen Xiai had searched on the trading channel before and found that a water purifier sold for 1,000 wood. The price was second, and the main reason was that it was out of stock. Lu Igua added, I can now make animal traps. I tried it today, but it can only capture small animals. The success rate is average. If you need it, please contact me. I will give you 2 units of iron blocks each. Chen Xiai and the others are very interested in this. Animal traps can assist hunting. If the success rate is low, it will be fine. If you put a few more, if you successfully catch one, it will be considered a profit. Chen Xiai 997, Uncle Lu, give me 5. I'll try them out. Lu Igua 8, okay, this trap should be better with animal bait, but I don't have the animal bait drawings here. You can use wild fruits as bait. Obtain animal trap *5. Next, everyone exchanged some resources. For example, Song Yerui purchased several medicinal seeds, and Xiao Hua sold a batch of animal skins, which were all accepted by Lu Xiaoye. She was entrusted with making a set of high-quality cotton clothes for everyone in the group. In fact, Chen Xiai also had a backpack drawing that required animal skins as raw materials, but the sales prospects of backpacks on the market were not good, so he had no plans to purchase animal skins. However, Chen Xiai was quite surprised that Xiao Hua could sell so many animal skins, which showed that he did hunt a lot of animals with his supernatural powers. However, he did not sell meat steaks, so he was not rich in meat. After exchanging supplies, the steak in his hand was already cooked. He took a bite. As the system introduced, the quality of high-quality barbecue is indeed much better than ordinary barbecue. It is oily but not greasy, crispy and delicious, and it feels good in the stomach after eating it. It feels warm and full, and there seems to be a magical power in the food that plays an incredible role. If Chen Xiai now eats ordinary barbecue, he would need to eat 2 standard-sized steaks, but after eating this high-quality steak, he felt obviously full. When I move my body in the open space, I can only feel the warm current flowing from my stomach to my whole body, and I can even feel a slight increase in my strength. His current physical fitness is 6 points, which is already higher than the average standard for adults. People with weak physical fitness should feel it more obviously. So this should be the way for most people to improve their physique. Super fruits are much rarer after all. Chen Xiai slowly realized that if he didn't have the red fruit, if he wanted to practice Xuanqiu sword technique, he would also need high-quality steaks. The world of ruins requires us to fight. Searching for supplies can only ensure survival, and fighting can make us stronger. Chen Xiai felt more and more that what Ruins World wanted to cultivate was warriors who could fight in harsh conditions. If this was the case, the importance of improving personal strength would be greatly increased. It is estimated that many people at the bottom of the Survivor League will be eliminated in the future. A piece of high-quality meat steak reminded Chen Xiai a lot, and he secretly made up his mind to pay attention to training and hunting, and strengthen himself as much as possible. Taking advantage of the strong charcoal fire, Chen Xiai grilled the remaining 2 pieces of high-quality meat steaks. This is tomorrow's food. Now that he knows that high-quality meat steaks can improve physical fitness, he will try to arrange one for every meal in the future. After grilling the steak, putting it in the kitchen, and tidying it up a little, Chen Xiai remembered that the King Gu beehive should have completed the evolution of the queen bee at this time, and picked up the beehive in the living room with some anticipation. Sure enough, the beehive prompted that a new horned queen bee had been produced. Check the attributes carefully. Horn Queen Bee. Level 1. Quality, Boss. Attributes, Paralyzing Poison, Swarm Control ability increased by 60%. Introduction, an ordinary horn bee, after a battle, stood out, received the Gu King Beehive level +1 strengthening, and became a first-level queen bee. Quality of wild creatures, ordinary, elite, boss, hero, lord. The first 4 are respectively accompanied by 0 to 3 attributes or skills. There is no limit to the number of lord creature attributes. Please select the evolution direction of the horned bee colony. Immediately afterwards, Chen Xiai received a prompt that he needed to determine the growth direction of the horned bee swarm, which was mainly divided into 3 directions: reconnaissance, combat, and logistics. Reconnaissance is to improve the exploration and concealment capabilities of the bee colony, and to understand the meaning of the beehive owner to a certain extent. As the name suggests, combat mainly improves the combat capabilities of the bee swarm, including quantity, toxins, size, etc. The final logistics direction is mainly to enhance the ability to collect honey and produce honey with different attributes. Honey will provide different abilities, and some honey can even permanently improve attributes. It is not that after this selection, all future bee colonies will have the same evolutionary direction. A level 2 Gu King beehive can have 3 queens at the same time, and each queen can choose a different direction. After all 3 queens are selected, if you want to change the evolutionary direction of the bee colony, you need to kill the current queen bee and re-evolve a new queen bee. I need scouts who can search for supplies and beasts more now. Based on his experience today, Chen Xiai decisively chose the direction of investigation. He needed helpers to explore the wilderness, and the efficiency of searching alone was too low. The bee swarms in the reconnaissance direction are not only capable of reconnaissance, but also have certain combat capabilities. The horn bees themselves still have the unique paralytic toxicity, but the development and evolution of the bee swarms in the future will tend to explore and conceal. After determining the direction of evolution, the beehive lid opened automatically, and a horned bee the size of an adult's thumb flew out. After seeing Chen Xiai, it fluttered its wings and landed on Chen Xi's shoulder. It looked around cautiously. This is the horned queen bee. Chen Xiai looked up and down the horned bee queen. It was 2 or 3 times larger than the ordinary horned bee. The 3 poisonous needles on its tail shone with cold light. The length of the poison needles was also much larger than that of the ordinary horned bee, and its poison was more ferocious. It was a level 0 beast. I can't bear it at all. In addition to the queen bee, there are about 1,000 elite horned bees in the beehive. These are the queen bee's troops. Following the prompts, Chen Xiai picked up a horned bee model from the King of Gu beehive. The model was about the size of a glass bead. This was the bee colony controller. Holding the controller in his hand, he can convey his thoughts to the queen bee, who then directs the bee swarm. Through the controller, he can also vaguely perceive the meaning expressed by the bee swarm. Queen horned bee, lead the swarm to look for food around the shelter. Chen Xiai tried to order through the swarm controller. After receiving the order, the horned bee queen flew out of the shelter with the bees and started patrolling the surrounding area. Take the bee swarm to hunt tomorrow. Chen Xiai looked at the bee swarm, full of expectations for tomorrow's exploration and hunting. Chapter 24 Flash Stone and Explosive Stone. Chen Xiai put the swarm controller into his inventory. The inventory was almost full. As the types of items he needed to carry increased when he went out, the 10-slot inventory was no longer enough. I have obtained a backpack blueprint before. I will try to make one and see if I can handle it first. I don't know if I can expand the inventory later. As soon as he thought of it, Chen left the warehouse and took out the backpack drawings and production materials. He came to the tool table and entered the drawings into the tool table. The backpack drawing turned into white light and disappeared, and the backpack production option immediately appeared above the tool table list. Backpack, normal. Materials required, hide *1, rope *2. Chen Xiai has 2 animal skins, but no ropes, so he needs to buy them. He opened the trading channel and searched for rope, and found that rope was still a big item, with many types, including parachute rope, metal rope, hemp rope, cotton rope, polyester rope, etc. Some of these ropes are produced by the survivors themselves, such as hemp ropes and cotton ropes, or they are obtained from treasure chests, such as parachute ropes, metal ropes, etc. Hemp rope is the cheapest. 1 unit of wood is exchanged for 1 unit of hemp rope. Metal rope is the most expensive, and there are many prices. There is no need for a special rope. An ordinary hemp rope or cotton rope will do. Let's try 2 cotton ropes. Chen Xiai felt that if he bought a metal rope, the tool bench would not necessarily approve it. He had never seen a metal rope. Backpack. Harvest cotton rope *2, lose wood *8. Putting the cotton rope and animal skin in front of the tool table, the animal skin in his hand was the cheetah skin he got at the end of the novice protection, and it was of ordinary quality. Check with the tool bench to produce a backpack. 1 minute later. Get a backpack, normal, *1. What the system produces is a backpack, the size of an ordinary school bag, leather leopard print backpack. This genuine leather backpack is estimated to be worth a lot of money in Blue Star. In the ruins world, it also depends on its attributes. Backpack, normal. Level 0. Quality, ordinary. Introduction, a crudely made backpack, which can store 2 cubic meters of items. Live animals cannot be stored. Although the volume is smaller, the weight of the backpack will not be reduced. Chen Xiai picked up the backpack and put the stone axe next to it into the backpack for testing. After careful observation, he found that the items would automatically shrink when they came into contact with the mouth of the backpack. This backpack did not have 2 cubic meters of space inside, but by reducing the volume of the items, thus holding 2 cubic meters of objects. The backpack can only hold a maximum of 2 cubic meters of items. No more can be accommodated, and the weight of the items in the backpack will not decrease as the volume shrinks. If you really want to carry 2 cubic meters of rocks, you won't be able to carry it on your back. I wonder what other people think. Chen Xiai sent the attributes of the backpack to the small group and wanted them to give their opinions. They all agreed that it was very useful when going out. Although it was not suitable for carrying basic materials such as wood and stone, it could be used to store some items with small weight, which could free up some items. Column. After other people in the group learned that Chen Xiai could produce backpacks, they placed orders one after another and asked him to make one. The inventory of each survivor was not enough. Chen Xiai naturally accepted the production entrustment and did not charge a handling fee. He just asked them to prepare their own raw materials. After everyone's analysis, he slightly changed his previous understanding. Backpacks are not useless items and are still of great use to survivors who hunt and explore in the wild. However, he currently does not plan to mass-produce backpacks as products. Because the supply of the main material, animal skins, was insufficient, Chen Xiai did not have any inventory, and he did not intend to waste a lot of energy on purchasing animal skins and ropes in the trading channel. Another point is that the current profit of Little Buckler is very high, and it is not yet time to change the main product. In view of his previous misunderstanding about backpacks, Chen Xiai also entered the blueprint of the recliner he got yesterday into the tool table, and spent 2 units of wood to make one. Obtain recliner *1. Then a solid wood recliner appeared in the workroom. It was reddish-brown in appearance. It looked no different from the recliner Blue Star had seen before. Checking the attributes did not reveal any unexpected effects. It was just an ordinary recliner. Chen Xiai moved the recliner to the living room, lay down, and casually summoned the chat channel. Suddenly, he felt as comfortable as scrolling through his phone at home. The description of the recliner was very accurate. Lying on it can really relax people. The chat channel in the evening was as lively as ever. I met a silly rabbit today and was so frightened that it bumped into a tree. Take a look. Rabbitmeat.jpg. Rabbits are so cute, why do you eat rabbits? Drool. It's upstairs. I'll trade it with you for half a rabbit at my convenience. Rabbit meat is nothing, look at mine. Roastlamb.jpg. I'm so envious. I won't pick up wood tomorrow, but we'll go hunting. There are these nonsensical fun-loving people, and there are also some survivors who share their experiences. A little guess about gathering skills. If you use the gathering skill on the prey will disappear entirely, and the survivors will harvest steaks, hides, fangs, hair and other items. The quality of the items varies. I specifically tested it with a prey today. What would happen if I didn't use the gathering skill? I took off the teeth, skin and meat of the beasts, and then used the system to identify them. I found that these could all be identified by the system, but the quality of the materials was ordinary. I finally used the gathering skills on the remaining bones and internal organs, and harvested a unit of high-quality bones, pure bones, without a trace of meat. So I guess that gathering skills should be able to concentrate the essence and improve the quality. If you just want meat, don't use gathering. You will get more meat by slaughtering it yourself. But if you want high-quality steaks and other materials, you must use gathering skills. Let me go. Are there any research talents among our group of fun-loving people? My knowledge has increased, and I feel like my brain is itching. Chiang 388, thank you for sharing. It is very useful to the majority of survivors who are short of food. The boss is right, thank you for sharing. After Qi Yang spoke, the formation below turned into a unified thank you. Chen Xiai also lamented that in the market world, sometimes he couldn't tell whether it was a game or reality. He had collected it directly before and never thought of doing experiments. But it's not of much use to me. I've decided to try to eat high-quality steaks. Strength comes first. Chen Ci thought with a calm expression. He believed in his previous judgment about the Ruins world and that the Ruins world needed warriors. I browsed the chat channel on the recliner for a long time, but found no other interesting messages. I turned off the system, got up, went to the warehouse, and took out the required synthetic materials. Synthesis before going to bed is a reserved item. Chen Ci's face was full of expectations. I hope I can synthesize something good today. Let's synthesize it casually first to warm the stove. The main material is this crossbow arrow, and the auxiliary material is warm stone. It would be great if I could synthesize a burning arrow. Let's try which combination has a higher success rate. Chen Ci took out various items and tried them over and over again, and found that using wood and coal as auxiliary materials had the highest success rate. But the mutation rate is also very high. It should be that the material of the crossbow arrows is quite different from the warm stone. Although the uncertainty is high, opening a blind box is exciting. After determining the synthetic materials, he concentrated on summoning the talent synthesis furnace. Main material, crossbow arrow *1, auxiliary material, wood *5, warm stone *1, coal *1. The materials are put into the synthesis furnace one by one. The synthesis success rate is 80% and the mutation rate is 60%. Do you want to synthesize it? Chen Ci stared at the synthesis furnace with an anxious expression, wondering whether such a high mutation rate could produce benign mutations. Confirm synthesis. As Chen Ci's spiritual power flowed in, the synthesis furnace slowly lit up with a blue light. Success. Chen Ci saw the blue light converge, and a red stone-like object fell on Chen Ci's hand. Explore properties. Explosive stone. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Attributes, explosion range increased by 50%. Introduction, stones containing high-intensity energy are prone to explosions when encountering collisions. The normal explosion radius is 1 meter. The fine products contain more energy and the explosion radius is 1.5 meters. F***K. Chen Ci's face turned a little blue and he quickly put the stone into his inventory. When he saw that it was extremely explosive, he almost threw it away with a trembling hand. Seeing the stone lying quietly in the inventory, he breathed a sigh of relief, and joy gradually filled his cheeks. Isn't this a fantasy version of a grenade? Try again with the same materials. See if the synthetic materials are the same and the synthesized items are the same. He did it as soon as he thought of it, and quickly took out another copy of the same synthetic materials. Without hesitation, he directly confirmed the synthesis. A burst of blue light flashed, and the synthesis was successful again. This time, it was also a red stone that appeared directly on the table. Chen Ci did not reach for it directly, but used his exploration skills from a distance. Exploding glitter stone. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Attribute, exorcism +1. Introduction, stones containing high-intensity energy can easily explode upon collision, producing dazzling bright light. The bright light has certain exorcism properties. It turned into a flash bomb this time, but what does it mean to exorcise evil spirits? Are there still ghosts in the Ruins world? When Chen Ci thought of the various ghosts and monsters in myths and legends, he felt a tingle in his heart. We must believe in materialism and science. Chen Ci silently recited democracy, freedom, and harmony several times in his mind. Chen Ci just hoped that the exorcism mentioned in the introduction was not what the public generally believed. It was possible that there were real ghosts. After all, time travel had happened. After putting away the explosive flash stone, Chen Ci took out the vine armor he often wore. He wanted to synthesize a piece of defensive equipment. Currently, he has no shortage of weapons, but the only defensive equipment is a snakeskin shield and vine armor. The snakeskin shield is of ordinary quality after all. There are always times when protection is not available. He planned to use his synthetic ability to try to strengthen the vine armor, so that it would be safer to go hunting. The main material is rattan armor. For auxiliary materials, use 2 units of ebony ironwood and 2 units of iron blocks. Both of these have good defensive properties. Then, 3 units of warm stone will be perfect if it has the ability to keep warm. Chen Xiai took out the materials and tested the success rate, and found that it was not low, at 75%. The highest success rate was of course using wood, with a success rate of 95%. However, the improvement of the rattan armor by using wood should be limited. That's it. If the improvement is too small, it won't be of much use. It's better to give it a try. The synthesis success rate is 75% and the mutation rate is 40%. Do you want to synthesize it? Confirm synthesis. Chen Xiai simply input his mental power. Chapter 25 Fire Poison Thorn Vine. After Chen Xiai confirmed the synthesis furnace began to extract his mental power. After synthesizing so many times, he also had some experience. Generally, the amount of mental power consumed is related to the quality of the successfully synthesized items. Synthetic items below fine quality are all 1 point. Mental power, the rare quality, is 2 points of mental power. I have never encountered a higher one, so I can't be sure yet. This time I consumed 1 point of spiritual power. Is the quality ordinary or high quality? Chen Xiai carefully felt the flow of mental power, and stared at the synthesis furnace with all his attention. When he saw a flash of blue light, he breathed a sigh of relief. Excellent product, not bad. When the light dissipated, Chen Xiai looked at the items on the table and was a little confused. What is this? The synthetic item on the table looks like an oval gem, about the size of a pigeon egg, blood red, slightly shiny, and very attractive. Chen Xiai didn't reach out to touch it, just in case it was like an explosive rock. His luck was a bit strange today, and every synthesis was unexpected. However, after finishing last 2 times, he no longer made a fuss and could use his detection skills with a calm expression. Fire Poison Vine Seeds. Level 1. Quality, Boutique. Attribute, Growth Speed plus 30%. Introduction, a rare extraordinary plant seed, remember to shed blood to identify its owner before planting. An extraordinary plant seed? Chen Xiai pinched it and put it in the palm of his hand. The seed was still warm. When he looked carefully, it was crystal clear, more like a fiery red gem. Do extraordinary plants have any superpowers? Legendary spiritual plants? Chen Xiai looked at it carefully, but couldn't see anything. He could only plant it to know what kind of plant it was. The rattan armor has turned into seeds. Not to mention that the armor has not been strengthened, but 1 piece is missing. He scratched his head a little, but he didn't complain. This seed must be very precious. It's just a piece of rattan armor. At worst, he will trade another one with Song Yanrui tomorrow. Synthesize again. The main material is this useless poncho, the auxiliary material is lynx hide, 2 units of ebony wood, and 2 units of ice crystal. It should be possible to synthesize a set of clothing like armor, right? The synthesis success rate is 70% and the mutation rate is 50%. Do you want to synthesize it? Even if it succeeds, there is a half chance that it will mutate, but it doesn't matter if these materials are lost, as long as it succeeds, you will make money. Chen Xiai hesitated for a moment, but after a moment's thought, he immediately confirmed the synthesis. He was very calm this time and didn't have much hope of synthesizing a set of armor. The main and auxiliary materials had nothing to do with the armor, so the probability of relying on mutation was too low. The blue light on the synthesis furnace dissipated, and a set of clothes appeared on the table. Looking at the clothes on the table with curiosity. Cat Pattern Combat Uniform. Level 0. Quality, Boutique. Attribute, Avoid Water. Introduction, this is a trendy combat uniform, and the spotted cat pattern makes it a fashion favorite. What a shame for this property. Chen Xiai unfolded his clothes and looked at them with disgust. This is a one-piece combat suit, somewhat like Spider-Man's suit. He tugged hard. The material was very strong and the overall color was gray. The clothes were covered with spots similar to bobcat patterns. After wearing them, he could completely cosplay a bobcat. Now, let's call him Bobcat Man. Putting aside the distasteful appearance, the attributes of this combat uniform are still good. The water-repellent property prevents this combat uniform from getting wet or stained by mud, water, or blood. It is considered to have its own cleaning ability. I don't know if water protection can withstand acid rain. If it works, the value of this combat uniform will be greatly increased. I will be able to go out even in the face of acid rain. Chen Xiai suddenly thought of a key point. If it could avoid acid rain, this combat uniform would be of great use. Looking at those cat patterns, they looked so cute. After synthesizing the cat pattern combat uniform, Chen Xi's mental strength had reached its lowest point. He could only end the synthesis, pack up the remaining materials and put them in the warehouse. The night in the ruins world is very quiet. Chen Xiai has been here for 5 days and has initially adapted to a life of survival alone. However, he still feels lonely at night. In addition to daily communication in the chat channel, he plans to slowly improve the quality of life and relieve loneliness and stress. Take a hot bath today and change into new clothes tomorrow. Chen Xiai, who had just checked the production progress of the buckler from the tool room, was thinking. The bucklers are still being produced. He can't go to bed now. He needs to wait for the production of bucklers to be completed and put them all on the shelves. If he puts them on the shelves tomorrow morning, it will waste half a day, and he can produce a lot of buckles in half a day. Shielded. Chen Xiai took out the charcoal, went to the kitchen stove, poured the river water from the barrel into the pot, lit the charcoal in the stove, and started to prepare bath water. Taking advantage of his free time to boil water, he spent 5 units of wood to buy a single bathtub from the trading channel. When he bought it, he checked the purchase comments and found that the sales volume of the bathtub was quite good, and many survivors bought it. In particular, there are many female survivors. He took out the tub from the trading channel and slowly moved it to the bathroom. Chen Xiai suddenly slapped his forehead. You're stupid. Low mental power will also affect your intelligence. I should come to the bathroom and pick up the barrel again. After complaining about himself, Chen Xiai immediately rushed back to the stove and stared at the hot water. Waiting for the hot water to boil, Chen Xiai scooped the hot water into a wooden bucket, poured it all into the tub, and then added cold water from the water tank until the water temperature reached 42 degrees. Around C. Soaking in the bathtub, Chen Xiai felt that his body slowly relaxed and his spirit was no longer tense. He had been under great pressure these days, and his life was in danger more than once. If he hadn't lived alone since he was a child, he was used to living alone and self-regulation. Mental problems have already occurred. Chen Xiai, who was drowsy after soaking in the bathtub, cheered up and carefully washed the dirt on his body. It's a pity that there is no soap and shampoo. He had seen soap on the trading channel, and the asking price was 300 iron bars. It was true, and he had no intention of being taken advantage of. After cleaning it, he felt a lot more relaxed. He threw the tattered quick-drying clothes into the tool room. He didn't plan to wear them anymore and would use them to make other items someday. Putting on the cat print combat uniform that I disliked before, I no longer feel sticky on my body. Moreover, the combat uniform has water-repellent properties and is very breathable. It makes me feel refreshed. Don't underestimate a simple bath. Only half of the survivors can do this. For most survivors, this is a luxury experience. Ordinary survivors work hard for a day, rolling wood, digging stones, and mining. At the end of the day, they are exhausted, but the harvest is only enough to sustain their daily lives. When they return to the shelter at night, they have to spend a lot of money to trade some supplies with other survivors, and their energy is also exhausted. Very tired. These survivors were exhausted and mentally exhausted, and did not have the financial resources to boil water for a bath. They could only use wooden buckets to get some water for a shower. Chen Xiai is lucky that he can have rare items for sale and does not have to worry about basic supplies. The high-quality meat and knife skills training he is currently concerned about are not what ordinary survivors should consider at all. After throwing out the bath water and finishing the production of bucklers, Chen Ji went to the tool room and divided the 450 bucklers into 4 orders as usual and put them on the trading channel. Items for sale: small buckler *1, trading item wood *20, a total of 150 orders. Items for sale: small buckler *1, trading items stone *16, a total of 100 orders. Items for sale: small buckler *1, trading items iron *4, a total of 150 orders. Items for sale: small buckler *1, trading item glass *1, 50 orders in total. After completing the listing, Chen Xiai noticed that Wang Lei had sent him some messages, which generally meant that he had a good harvest today and also got some information about the Blood Evil Alliance. After a few glances, he found that there was no useful information, so he just dealt with it casually. After a few words, he hung up the chat box. Chen Xiai used the swarm controller to instruct the Hornby Queen to stay alert at night. He returned to the bedroom, closed his eyes, and fell asleep soon. He will go hunting again tomorrow. Chapter 26 Advancement of Sword Skills. Weather on Day 6 in Ruins World: light fog turned sunny, temperature 8 degrees Celsius to 21 degrees Celsius. There are 4 days left until the acid rain test. Survivors, please prepare as soon as possible. Before dawn, Chen Xiai got up early and immediately noticed the prompt that popped up in Ruins World, adding a new weather reminder function. Weather reminder? This function is good. It would be better if it could provide weather forecast. The first thing after getting up, open the trading channel and check the sales progress of the small buckler. Ignoring the transaction reminders on the screen, I saw that all the small bucklers on the shelves last night were sold out, and I looked satisfied with the harvest of cash withdrawals. Open your eyes and see the joy. Today is definitely a fruitful day. After cheering himself up, Chen Xiai sent a transaction request to Song Yenrui, exchanging wood for a set of rattan armor. His rattan armor was synthesized yesterday and was gone for hunting today. Without rattan armor, he always felt insecure. Song Yenrui did not reply immediately, probably because she was not awake. Chen Xiai is not in a hurry. He needs to practice in the morning and doesn't plan to go out. He just needs to trade before noon. After washing briefly, he took out the bread and apples and poured a glass of water. This was today's breakfast. While eating breakfast, I counted the basic resources in my hand. There are 4,250 units of wood, 3,350 units of stone, 603 units of iron, and only 73 units of glass. After dinner, I went to the tool table and arranged to produce 600 small bucklers. Time is money. After walking out of the shelter, the weather outside was just as the system prompted, with a light mist floating around and visibility of about 200 meters. Chen Xiai wore a catprint combat uniform and came to the courtyard of the shelter. After moving his body to warm up briefly, he took out a red fruit and swallowed it, officially starting today's practice. Training is very boring, but as the red fruit comes into play, Chen Xiai gradually devotes all his attention to training, and the Xuanqiu sword technique in his hand becomes more and more proficient. Each move is majestic. The sword skills were being used faster and faster, and suddenly the sword force stopped and was used again. If there were other people nearby, they should be able to clearly feel that the Tang Heng Dao in his hand had become very flexible, and the sword skills were not as rigid as before. After taking advantage of the situation to perform a full set of sword skills, Chen Xiai put away his sword and stood up. After feeling the changes in himself, he opened the personal attribute panel to check the progress of Xuanqiu sword skills. Xuanqiu sword technique proficiency, mastery 2%. His sword skills have been advanced and mastered. Compared with the previous manual, some moves have been slightly adjusted, and the force and angle have been changed to make them more suitable for him. Sensing the heat of the red fruit in his body, he did not stop practicing as his sword skills advanced. He did not stop until the energy of the red fruit was completely absorbed and the feeling of exhaustion and hunger came to his heart. It was already approaching noon, and the morning mist had long since dissipated. The warm sunshine was shining on his body, which was very comfortable. If he was not a survivor, he would probably move out of the recliner and have a good sleep. Back in the kitchen, I reheated the high-quality steaks that were grilled yesterday, took out a bag of braised beef noodles, brewed them with hot water, and improved my knife skills. I must eat something good and treat myself to a meal. After recalling the delicious taste of the exquisite steak in his mouth, Chen Ci took out the seeds of the fire poison thorn vine synthesized yesterday. I need to find a place in the yard and plant the seeds first. I don't know how long it will take to grow. He looked at the fiery red seeds in his hand and complained, I have never seen extraordinary seeds before, let alone planting them. They are not given instructions. Can they be planted directly in the ground like ordinary seeds? Although he didn't know if there was anything special about planting extraordinary plants, he did remember to drip blood to identify the owner before planting. He stretched out his finger and lightly scratched the blade of Tanghengdao, and the blood dropped and slowly seeped into the seeds. This is? Chen Ci looked at the seeds in his hand with some surprise. After the blood seeped into the seeds, he felt as if he had a slight connection with the seeds. He could vaguely sense the needs of the seeds. It wanted to enter the soil and needed water. He instantly understood why there was no mention of planting methods in the ruins world. It turned out that extraordinary plants could vaguely express emotions. I have heard before that some plants can sense human emotions, but I have never heard of any plant that can express emotions, and there is definitely no communication of consciousness like this. Chen Ci didn't waste any more time. According to the needs of the fire poison vine, he dug a small hole of about 5 centimeters next to the fence gate, put the seeds in, covered it with soil, and used the prepared water to wet the ground until the fire poison vine reached. There was a feeling of contentment. In his opinion, the fire poisonous thorn vine is easy to maintain. It takes 2 to 3 days to germinate. During this period, you only need to keep the ground moist and no other operations are needed. It's getting late. After completing the planting of the fire poison thorn vine, he was ready to go out to search for supplies as planned. Chen Ci put on the new vine armor that Song Yenrui had just traded and put the King Gu beehive into the backpack on his back. The beehive could also cultivate 2 queen bees. He planned to stop by to see if there was a suitable bee colony. Climb over the fence gate and go east to the river. This time he will search southward along the river. There should be no shortage of animals by the river. They may come to the river to drink water. Chen Ci took out the bee swarm controller and commanded the horned queen bee on his shoulder, Horned queen bee, send the swarm to search for wild beasts ahead, and report in time when found. Finding treasure chests may be a bit difficult with horned swarms, but searching for beasts should be easy. Buzz buzz. After the hornbee queen understood Chen Ci's instructions, she drew a figure 8 in front of him, as if to say obey, and then ordered the bee swarm to be divided into 2 parts. Most were sent out to search for animals and resources, while a small number continued to scatter around to protect Chen Ci. Words and horns queen bee. Not long after Chen Ci walked south along the river, several horned bees returned and hovered in front of Chen Ci. They went back and forth in one direction several times to remind them of the situation in that direction. Have you gained something so quickly? Chen Ci looked overjoyed and hurriedly followed the horned bees. Not far away, he saw a group of horned bees surrounding each other from a distance, and something seemed to be surrounded in the middle. What animal is so small? Chen Ci looked at the small circle formed by horned bee and was a little disappointed. He felt that the joy might be in vain. After all, it was the first time for horned bee to work, so it was normal to make mistakes. When he came to the side of the bee swarm, Chen Ci saw the little figure clearly. It was shivering among the bees. The figure was all white and the whole ball was formed into a ball. It was about the size of an adult's fist and looked like a fluffy figure. The cotton ball, upon closer inspection, turned out to be a white mouse. Compared to the horned bee, this size is indeed a giant beast. Chen Ci was a little dumbfounded, but he didn't stop. He took a step forward and let the bees disperse. He reached out and gently pinched the little thing with his thumb and index finger. He put the white mouse in the palm of his hand, and when he was about to take a closer look, he saw the white mouse suddenly lying there with its legs in the air, as if it was frightened to death. Dead? Are you so cowardly? Can a horned bee sting you to save your life? Chen Xiai looked at the white mouse with its legs in the air, stretched out his hand to summon a few horned bees, and wanted them to give the white mouse an acupuncture treatment. The little white mouse trembled, turned over, rolled up into a cotton ball, shivered, and looked extremely scared. Huh, I knew it was just an act. Chen Xiai looked at the living white mouse and couldn't help but feel happy. This little thing is very human and quite fun. Stare at the mouse and check its properties. Mutated white mouse. Level 0. Quality, elite. Attribute, good luck. Introduction, a domesticated white mouse has extraordinary luck. After coming to the market world, affected by the changes in the rules, the bloodline of his distant ancestors began to awaken. Still an elite monster. Chen Xiai stared at the white mouse in his hand in astonishment, feeling that this might be the most hip-reaching elite monster. The good luck attribute is really rare. I wonder if being a pet can bring good luck to the owner. Chen Xiai was a little eager to try it. If it works, he also hopes to have good luck. He controlled the corners of his mouth to raise, and said to the mouse with what he thought was a friendly expression, "The fact that I picked you up means that we are destined. It is not easy to survive in this broken world. If you follow me from now on, I will protect your safety. I'm your master. Well, I'll give you a name first. Let's call you Xiao Bai." The little white mouse didn't know whether he understood or not. He probably didn't understand, because when he saw Chen Xi's mouth full of white teeth, he was really frightened and fainted. Chen Xiai was a little speechless. He was so kind. He put Xiao Bai in the pocket of his combat uniform. He didn't have time now. He should go back and take time to cultivate feelings. At this time, several horned bees flew back from a distance, and they discovered the situation again. Chen Xiai immediately followed them and rushed north for about 1 kilometer. He saw the prey this time from a distance. This time the prey was very large, 3 adult zebras. They were by the river 200 meters away. Chen Xiai looked and saw 2 zebras drinking water with their backs to him, while the last one was standing guard with its back to the river. Because he was northwest of the zebras and lay down in time, they had not discovered him yet, but if he got up and approached, it would only be a matter of time before he was discovered. You can't get close now. If there is any movement, it will be easily discovered. Chen Xiai thought calmly. There was grassland nearby, with an unobstructed view. He might be discovered directly as soon as he got up. If he crawled forward, the movement of the grass would disturb the zebras on guard. His speed would definitely not be able to catch up with the zebras. It was impossible to attack directly. The distance between him and the zebra was too far. This distance was far beyond the range of the ice-patterned crossbow. He had to find a way to close the distance between the two parties. While Chen Xiai was thinking hard, he inadvertently glanced over his shoulder, and his eyes flashed. There is a way. Chapter 27 Zebra Hunting. Chen Xiai held the hornbeat swarm controller in his hand and gave instructions to the hornbee queen, "Go around the zebras and control the swarm to drive them in this direction." The hornbeat queen's little head moved, and she roughly understood what Chen Xiai meant. She flapped her wings and flew from his shoulders, leading the horned bees to the north of the zebra. Chen Xiai observed from a distance that after the bee swarm flew to the north of the zebra did not react much. After all, the horned bees were not big and the zebra was not afraid of these small bugs. In the distance, he saw a swarm of horned bees arriving at the predetermined location. Chen Xiai focused his thoughts on the swarm controller, and the remote-controlled bee swarm collectively rushed towards a zebra that was drinking water by the river. As soon as the swarm approached the zebra, it stared up at the swarm uneasily and slowly backed away. However, the swarm accelerated directly towards the zebra's face. Several horned bees landed near the zebra's nose. Without stopping, their tails immediately stretched out their stings. The needle is inserted directly next to the zebra's nose. Chen Xi's hornbee colony has been cultivated in the Gu King beehive. Both the toxicity and the sting strength are much stronger than ordinary horned bees. These few needles made the zebra feel a sharp pain. It was frightened and neighed loudly, and its 4 hooves were restless. He kicked randomly and started to avoid the swarm in the direction of Chen Xiai. The other two zebras were affected by this and started to run uneasily with the leading zebra. At this time, the Hornby Queen led the swarm to surround the frightened zebra in an arc, forcing the zebras to escape in the direction of Chen Xiai. With several long neighs, the three zebras were driven towards Chen Xiai. The frightened zebras were so fast that they were within the range of the ice-patterned crossbow within a few seconds. Chen Xiai calmly stared at the zebra that was getting closer and closer, and used his mind to activate the frozen arrow skill of the ice-patterned repeating crossbow, and the crossbow's body glowed with blue light. His face was stern, his eyes slightly darkened. He raised his hand and aimed at the two intact zebras running in front, pulled the trigger of the repeating crossbow, quickly cocked the gun with his other hand, and pulled it again. Two arrows exuding blue cold air were shot out, instantly hitting the two zebras approaching each other. Frost quickly condensed on their bodies. Affected by the frozen arrows, the two zebras stopped running at a speed. The zebra's limbs were frozen stiff, and its running speed was greatly reduced. Chen Xiai stood up quickly, and kept pulling the triggers towards the heads of the two zebras with both hands. Crossbow arrows were fired one after another. The first zebra running at the front was hit by several arrows. Its front hooves softened and fell to its knees. Followed by the second one, whose head was also full of arrows, fell 10 meters away from Chen Xiai. Outside. After dealing with the first two zebras, Chen Xiai turned to look at the last one, only to see that zebra was surrounded by a swarm of bees, screaming in fear, but the fear made it lose its way, and as the horn bees in its body the paralyzing toxin exploded, making his movements more and more difficult. Chen Xiai stepped forward to disperse the swarm and shot two arrows at the poor zebra, emptying the crossbow magazine and ending its fear and pain. What a great harvest! Chen Xiai was overjoyed. It was indeed a great harvest this time. He captured all three adult zebras without much effort, using only a few crossbow arrows. He lowered his head and looked at the zebras under his feet, and was a little surprised by the fighting power of the horned bee swarm. This success is mainly due to the great contribution of the bee swarm. Their fighting power is really good, but it is a pity that the number is small. After returning, we should let the horned bee queen go out and find the soldiers. Horned bee queens can go to the wild to find wasps, introduce beehives, and train them into swarms. This successful experience reminded him that he should strengthen the cultivation of horned bee colonies and expand the team. The battle just now caused the swarm to lose more than 10 scout bees. If the troops are not replenished in time, it is estimated that the queen bee will have no more bees available in the near future. Chen Xiai lowered his head and used his gathering skills on the three zebras one by one. Get steak, blue, *24, hide, blue, *3, bones, blue, *3. Bone? What's the use of this? Can it be used to make soup? Chen Xiai took out a piece and looked at it. It was really a bone. There was no flesh and blood on it. It was smooth and bright. He casually put the hides and bones into his backpack, and put the meat steak into his inventory. He bent down to pick up the wooden treasure box that exploded from the ground and opened it casually. Get cotton pajamas *1, saddle and bridle set *1, vitamins *1. He took out his cotton pajamas and carried them. They weighed about 2 kilograms and were of very good quality. They were a two-piece gray men's style. The size was the same as his usual clothes. It seemed that the system was quite user-friendly and the updated clothes were all of the right sizes. Suitable. This kind of cotton pajamas is definitely hard currency now. He felt a little cold in the shelter last night. It is estimated that the world will enter winter soon. There are many smart people, and the prices of all thermal insulation materials in the trading channel are increasing. Putting the cotton pajamas in the inventory, Chen Xiai picked up the vitamins. This is a bottled mixed vitamin with 100 tablets in it. According to the system prompts, it contains basic vitamin B, vitamin C, etc. In the market world, eating and drinking is a problem every day. Many people don't bother to take vitamin supplements. If they are in good condition, they just eat some wild fruits and the like. Chen Xiai is already living well, but he is also living well these days. Not even a bite of food was eaten, only a few apples, not to mention those survivors who were just barely on the food and clothing line. He solemnly put the vitamins in the inventory, and finally Chen Xiai picked it up with some speechlessness. The last harvest was a set of equipment. Saddle and bridle set. Level 0. Quality, ordinary. Introduction, people rely on clothes, and horses rely on saddles. This is the horse's fashion. First of all, you must have a horse. A set of ordinary quality equipment, with fine stitching, excellent workmanship, and high-quality materials. However, it is a saddle and equipment for horses. The most important thing is that Chen Xiai does not have a horse yet. One piece of useless equipment is added, and Chen Xiai does not look at it carefully. Casually threw the saddle into the backpack. After counting the harvest, he hurriedly cleaned the battlefield and found 4 relatively intact crossbow arrows on the ground. He took out 11 more crossbow arrows from his backpack and loaded them all into the magazine. Chen Xiai saw that there were only 2 crossbow arrows left in his backpack, and one of them was the Fang armor-piercing arrow that was synthesized before. He muttered in a low voice, "The crossbow arrows are not prepared enough. I must make more when I go back." After cleaning up, he let the hornbee swarm continue to disperse and investigate. It was still early and he had plenty of energy, so he would continue to search. An hour later, the hornbee swarm found no new resource points. After some thought, Chen Xiai asked the bee swarm to change its search direction and turn to the bushes in the east. During the search, Chen Xiai found many traces of animal activity. He placed 5 animal traps near some footprints that were obviously rabbits and birds. He didn't know much about how to set traps, so he could only use stupid methods, placing traps in places with many animal footprints, and using wild fruits he had harvested before as bait in the traps. These wild fruits had been collected for a while and had begun to dehydrate. But the apples from the treasure chest are still very fresh. He put down the last animal trap under a small tree at the edge of the bush, retreated to clear his traces, and was about to find a place to rest when several hornbees flew over. There is a discovery. A smile appeared on Chen Xi's face. At this time, several hornbees flew in front of him. They also found their prey. 2 places. Chapter 28 Get Another Bee. The hornbees brought 2 pieces of good news one after another. Chen Xiai stood up in surprise, wiped the dirt off his butt, and followed the group of hornbees back into the jungle. The combat uniform synthesized yesterday is really good. Chen Xiai was feeling a little emotional as he walked through the bushes. This combat uniform could not only avoid water, but also had very good defense. The branches scratched it, leaving no trace on the clothes. He wandered around the jungle for a long time and took many detours before arriving at the resource point discovered by the swarm. There were thick bushes in this area, and the hornbee could fly directly over it. However, he had to take a detour unless he cut down all the bushes blocking the road and made a path for himself. After walking around for half a day, he finally saw the resource point discovered by the bee swarm. It was a huge hive with a radius of nearly half a meter. He could see the bee swarm coming in and out of the hive from a long distance away. Chen Xiai raised the corner of his mouth. This bee colony is just used to cultivate the second queen bee of the Gu King beehive. Mutated Chinese honey bee. Level 0. Quality, ordinary. Introduction. Due to the mutation of the queen bee, the hardworking Chinese bees have enhanced nest-building ability, increased honey gathering time, and are better able to produce high-quality honey. The perfect logistics bee species, hornbee queen, it will be mainly up to you in a while. Chen Xiai looked at the huge beehive in the distance, took off his backpack, took out the Gu King beehive from the backpack, put 500 grams of honey he got before into it, which was the bait, and tightened the cuffs and trousers of the bobcat combat uniform. A bee's sting should not be able to penetrate combat uniforms. He will try to place the beehive not far from the hive under the protection of the hornbees. Approaching the hive with a steady pace, the Chinese honeybees flying outside immediately discovered Chen Xiai, who was planning to approach the hive. If they were faced with a powerful enemy, some of the bees stepped forward and launched an attack. When Chen Xiai saw the swarm of bees coming, he didn't stop. Instead, he quickened his pace. Without further delay, he quickly walked forward and put down the Goo King beehive. He calmly activated the beehive's characteristics with his mental power, turned around and ran away. As he expected, the Chinese honey bees could not pierce the combat uniform, and his head was protected by a swarm of horn bees. Most of the Chinese bees were killed by the surrounding horn bees before they even got close to him. The combat effectiveness of the Chinese honey bees was greater than that of the King Goo beehive. The evolved horn wasps are too far behind. Chen Ci successfully got rid of the entanglement of the Chinese honeybee and was pricked twice on the back of his hand. Fortunately, the sting of the Chinese honeybee was non-toxic, but the pain was very strong. Chen Ci chewed his teeth and endured the pain, and saw from a distance that as the characteristics of the Goo King's hive were activated, the surrounding bees were immediately attracted to the honey in the Goo King's hive, just like an alcoholic seeing the fine wine, and kept flying in a daze. Enter the beehive. The Goo King beehive is like a bottomless pit, constantly attracting Chinese bees. He even saw many bees returning to the nest, bypassing the original hive and being attracted into the Goo King beehive. Chen Ci stood not far away and watched for half an hour. Except for the bees in the hive, all the bees outside flew into the Goo King beehive. Observing that there were basically no bees outside the hive, he took action immediately, holding the swarm controller in his hand and commanding, "Queen bee, lead the swarm into the hive and kill the queen bee." The hornbee swarm was already prepared. The first-level hornbee queen leads thousands of elite hornbees to attack the beehive. Chen Ci outside didn't wait long, the hornbee queen led the bee swarm to fly out of the hive. The bee swarm also carried a white and fat flesh insect, and they captured the bee queen bee alive. I saw a swarm of horned bees grabbing the queen bee, and a swarm of Chinese honeybees flew out from the hive behind them like an explosion, trying to rescue the queen bee. Chen Ci quickly directed the horned bee swarm to turn around and fly towards the Goo King beehive. The horned bees swarm quickly approached the Goo King beehive, and then followed Chen Ci's order to kill the queen bee near the beehive. Because the queen bee was killed, the bee swarms that followed inevitably fell into a kingless state, dispersed, and were then attracted into the Goo Queen's hive. Seeing that his goal was successfully achieved, Chen Ci stepped forward with brisk steps to check the properties of the beehive. He found that there were nearly 100,000 Chinese bees inside, a dense area, and the beehive's bee-raising mode had automatically started. After checking the status of the beehive, Chen Ci turned to use his gathering skills on the huge beehive next to him. Obtain honey, blue, *12 pounds, royal jelly, blue, *1 pound, bee eggs, blue, *300. 3 high-quality items, let me check their properties. Honey. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Properties, nourishing the spirit. Introduction, the honey from mutated bees tastes extremely sweet. Long-term drinking can permanently enhance your spirit and perception. Food that permanently elevates your spirit and perception. Chen Ci shouted excitedly that items that permanently improve attributes are too rare. This kind of treasure will never be enough. No one will find it too much, especially since his natural ability requires mental energy to be used. The higher the mental energy, the more it will be used. His synthesis ability will also be stronger. Royal jelly. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Attribute, there is a 30% probability of permanently improving the quality of the bee colony. Introduction, rare and high-quality ingredients have a mellow taste that you won't get tired of eating for a long time. They are also rich in nutritional value. There is a certain probability that the bee swarm will permanently improve the quality. Chen Ci has heard of royal jelly. He heard it from a big brother before. According to the anonymous big brother, royal jelly is very useful for people who are weak or recovering from serious injuries. However, the big brother is not concerned about these effects. I heard a folk remedy that royal jelly can improve male performance, so big brother went everywhere to buy wild royal jelly. After withdrawing his thoughts, Chen Ci did not intend to consume this 1 pound of royal jelly by himself. He was still young and strong and could not use it for the time being. He wanted to cultivate a hornbee queen. There was no doubt about the role of the bee colony. In fact, the hornbee queen was very powerful in combat. Its poisonous needles could instantly kill most level 0 creatures. However, there were only 3 poisonous needles, and Chen Xiai had been reluctant to use them. If the hornbee queen can be promoted to the lord level, its combat power will further soar, and even the entire bee colony will have a big improvement. By then there will be thousands of boss-level hornbees, and Chen Xiai can basically walk sideways at level 0. After collecting the royal jelly, Chen Xiai looked at the last harvest. Bee eggs. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Attributes, there is a 30% probability of becoming an elite after hatching. Introduction, pet eggs, high-quality bee eggs, can be hatched directly with a drop of blood, and the variety will be the same. If hatched by a queen bee, the variety will be the same as the queen bee. Needless to say, these 300 eggs just replenished the supply of horn bees. In the hive blitz just now, more than 100 horn bees were killed. Currently, there are only 900 bees left in the colony, which needs to be replenished. In addition to these 3 gains from collecting beehives, a bronze treasure chest was also refreshed at the location of the beehive. Chen Xiai put it in his backpack but did not open it. It was getting late and he had to rush to the next resource point. Chen Xiai picked up the Gu King beehive and followed the bee swarm around the bushes for a long time. He felt that he could no longer tell the direction, but he was not worried about getting lost. The hornbee swarm could lead the way. I think I know what's ahead. Chen Xiai stopped with an ugly expression on his face and stared at a deep ditch in front of him. This ditch was about 80 centimeters wide and went straight into the jungle ahead. This should be a snake tunnel, right? Chen Xiai muttered to himself uncertainly. He had seen snake tunnels before, but never such a thick snake tunnel. The size of this snake was too terrifying. Chen Xiai stood there and hesitated for a long time, not knowing whether to move forward. According to the calculation of the snake path, the python was 80 centimeters thick. The length was unknown, but it must be very long, otherwise it would not be so thick. I have to take a look. It's not far from my shelter. I have a hunch that even if I don't go today, I will face it in the future. Chen Xiai glanced at the inventory, gritted his teeth and made up his mind to check the specific situation and retreat immediately if nothing could be done. After making up his mind, Chen Xiai found some muddy water in the snake passage and applied it to his exposed skin, tying up his collar and cuffs just like when he faced the bee before. Boa constrictors generally have dull eyes and deaf ears but a well-developed sense of smell. I wonder if the same is true in the market world. He just tried to smear mud on his body, but it is a good thing if it has some use. Now you don't have to find the way. You can find your target by following the snake path. Chen Xiai didn't walk along the snake path for too long when a fishy smell came from the front, and he knew that he was not far from the python. Sure enough, he followed the snake path and bypassed a big tree as thick as several people could hug him. When he turned a corner, a giant snake fell into his eyes. Chapter 29 Accelerated Growth of Fire Poison Thorn Vine. What comes into view is a 200-meter wide open space. The bare land is full of traces of giant snakes crawling. The vegetation on the land is sparse, with only scattered weeds. A giant snake coils quietly in the center, seemingly resting. The bulging abdomen may be due to just finishing eating. The giant snake's body is white and green, with white and cyan scales intertwined with each other. Each scale is as big as an adult's hand and exudes a metallic luster. The snake's body is coiled together. The specific length cannot be seen, but it is definitely more than 10 meters by visual inspection. The snake heads are half a meter long. Chen Xiai squatted in the bushes and peeked at the giant snake from the corner of his eye. Mutated python. Level 0. Quality, boss. Attributes, increase entanglement fatality rate by 50%, skill snake rush. Skill, snake-like lunge, exert all your strength, and instantly eject, closing the distance and swallowing the enemy. Introduction, jungle overlord, cold-blooded hunter, only a little short of being able to advance to level 1, with a movement speed that is not suitable for his size. Can't beat it, absolutely can't beat it. The moment Chen Ci saw the attributes of the mutated python, cold sweat broke out on his forehead. He was really frightened. This python is definitely something he can't handle right now. Not to mention his skills, just with his size and scales, the crossbow arrows fired from the ice-patterned crossbow in his hand won't penetrate very far, and will only cause minor injuries to the python. If you can't break the scale defense, it's probably just like scratching an itch. As soon as he thought about it, Chen Ci no longer hesitated and backed away slowly, preparing to turn around and leave this dangerous place. What he didn't see was that after he turned around and left, the python glanced at the place where he had just been hiding. After Chen Ci carefully retreated 200 meters, he suddenly accelerated away from the mutated python. At this distance, he did not feel safe. After walking quickly for 1 kilometer, Chen Ci gasped and stopped, releasing the horned bees swarm and letting them find a way out of the jungle and search for supplies, while he rested on the spot and waited for the swarm to return. This time it took a little longer. Chen Ci waited in place for an hour before the swarm returned. It was quite far from the edge of the jungle. Chen Ci roughly understood the meaning of the Pathfinder hornbee through the swarm controller. He had found the way out of the jungle and found a resource point on the way. I hope this time the resource point will no longer be a shock. Chen Ci shook his head with a wry smile. He was a little frightened. The hornbee now only knows which resources are resources. He can only judge whether it is dangerous or not. Although he thought this, he still set off to follow the swarm to the new resource point. This was the fastest way out of the jungle. The probability of 2 overlords existing at such a close distance was very low. 10 minutes later, Chen Ci followed the guidance of the swarm and came to the resource point. It was a tree. The tree was not high, only about 3 meters. After arriving here, the path-exploring horn wasps broke away from the team and flew to the top of the tree, where they kept circling, which meant that the resources were there. Chen Ci looked up and saw only a bird's nest between the branches, but nothing else. Could it be that the resource that the hornbee found was the bird's nest, which only contained a few eggs at most? Chen Ci was a little disappointed, but he still climbed up the tree with his hands and feet. He could not cut down the tree, which would easily break the eggs. The bird's nest was built on a 3-meter-high branch. Chen Ci could only climb to about 2 meters. The top could no longer bear his weight. He slowly stood up and looked at the bird. He was pleasantly surprised to find that there were not only eggs in the bird's nest, but also a wooden box, which was a wooden treasure box. Who can find the treasure chest refreshed here? He complained and put away the 3 eggs and the treasure box, and quickly slid down the tree without opening the treasure box to check. He put away the eggs and directed the swarm to move on. After walking for about 20 minutes, Chen Ci finally escaped from the jungle and looked up at the sun. It should be around 4 o'clock now, and there was still an hour before dark. He should hurry up and return to the shelter before dark. By the time we saw the mist-shrouded shelter, it was already dark. After Chen Ci returned to the shelter, he placed the Gu King beehive at the base of the arrow tower. There was about 8 square meters of space here, which was just the home for the bee swarm. He asked the hornbee queen to arrange for the bees to forage on their own, guard the shelter, and put 300 bees in it. The eggs are given to the horned queen bee to replenish the colony. Walking into the stone house, Chen Ci didn't bother to rest. He spent 2 units of wood in the trading channel to buy a wooden cage and put the white mouse in the pocket of the combat uniform. "Little one, this is your nest. I'll prepare some food for you." The little white mouse had woken up a long time ago and had been trying to escape. Unfortunately, the bobcat combat suit was not something it could destroy. Following Chen Ci, who was jostling around all afternoon, the whole mouse had already lost half of its life. Chen Ci took out a wooden bowl from the kitchen and poured half a bowl of water for the white mouse. A few drops of fine honey harvested today were dropped into the water. He was afraid that the little thing would be tortured by him, and the honey water should be a great tonic for it. After placing the mice, Chen Ci stopped staying. He still had a lot of work to do. Put today's harvest in the warehouse and kitchen respectively, then go to the tool room and put the 600 small bucklers made today into the inventory. Then open the trading channel and put them all on the shelves. Exchange 200 for wood, 200 for iron, 100 for stone, and 100 for glass. The exchange price remains unchanged. After finishing the trivial matters, Chen Ci lay down on the recliner and opened the wooden treasure box he got when he came back. Harvest rice *1, cold medicine *1, military coat *1. The rice is a bag of 10 kilograms, which is enough for Chen Ci to eat for a while. The cold medicine is a box of 12 tablets, which is mainly used to treat colds and colds. Needless to say, the military coat is a magic weapon to keep out the cold, but it is not used yet. There is also a bronze treasure chest. The bronze treasure box still contained good things. Chen Ci stared at the treasure box in his hand expectantly and slowly opened it. After a burst of light, 3 light balls appeared in the box. He picked one up and crushed it. Underwater breathing agent. Level 1. Quality, boutique. Properties, duration increased by 30%. Introduction, as the name suggests, you can breathe freely underwater for 20 minutes after taking it. I'm familiar with this potion. It's often seen in games. Agents with specific effects. Chen Ci thought about it and planned to put it in the warehouse. It shouldn't be needed for a while. He didn't plan to explore the river for the time being. Crush the second ball of light. Hey, it's potion again. What appeared in his hand was a bottle of green potion. Plant growth solution. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Attributes, effect increased by an additional 30%. Introduction, this is a potion developed by a master pharmacist to ripen medicinal materials. It can shorten the production time of plants below level 1 by 50%. However, he later discovered that the cost of using this potion to ripen medicinal materials is enough to buy 2 copies of the same medicinal materials. Plants below level 1 are suitable for fire poison thorn vine, which can directly shorten the growth time by 80%. Chen Ci immediately thought of the fire poison thorn vine. The potion came at just the right time. He didn't care to look at the last light ball, picked up the potion, ran to the fire poison thorn vine, and gently dug the small hole. First put a drop on the seeds. Chen Ci stared closely at the dripping growth liquid. After it fell, it was absorbed by the seed. A message came from the sensory connection with the fire poison thorn vine. He concentrated on sensing it carefully. The seed's consciousness was very ignorant, and he could only understand that it was necessary. His intermittent consciousness told him that this growth liquid had a great effect on the fire poison thorn vine. Chen Ci immediately felt relieved and sensed the fire poison thorn vine's desire for growth liquid. He slowly poured the entire bottle of growth liquid onto the seeds. I saw the seeds burst into a dazzling blue light and then, as if time was accelerated, they sprouted and grew rapidly, and sprouted vines. The vines automatically wrapped around the fence and slowly spread along the fence into the distance. Chen Ci regretted a little, I shouldn't have poured it all into the seeds. What if I can't bear it? He kept using probing skills on the poisonous thorn vine, but he could only get hints that it was growing. He concentrated his consciousness on the emotion of the poisonous thorn vine, and what he heard was happiness and excitement, and he slowly felt relieved. Observing that the fire poison thorn vine was in good condition except for growing faster, and found no problems, he no longer waited to return to the stone house. The system prompted that it would take a long time to grow this time. After Chen Ci entered the room and saw the ball of light on the table, he remembered that there was one left, so he stepped forward to pick it up and crush it. Is it a drawing? Toilet paper drawing, normal, you can make toilet paper, and you can only make toilet paper. Production material, would attribute material *1. Chen Ci feels that toilet paper should be very popular. Although it is inconspicuous, it is very useful. He understands the pain of going to the toilet in the wild without paper. Enter it on the tool table first, then make 10 units in a while, give it to Lu Yang and others, and listen to their opinions. Chen Ci felt that using toilet paper as a gift for survivors would be quite popular. Chapter 30 Resource Building Nursery. Private Chat Group. At this time, the group was already very lively. Lu Yang and Xiaohua didn't know what they were discussing. Chen Ci didn't look up the chat history, but he probably understood that Xiaohua used his superpower to hunt a mutated crocodile and was showing off the battle. Lu Yang mainly plays Lemon. Lu Yang has no special powers, nor has he developed any training techniques such as knife skills and breathing techniques. He mainly relies on some animal traps and high-priced bows and crossbows for defense. He does not have the ability to actively hunt and kill. Of course, this is what most people need to survive. The current situation of the person. Chen Ci saw that what they handed out were all useless things, so he interrupted their chat with a speech. Everyone, I got a good thing, are you interested in seeing it? Lu Yang too, Brother Chen is online. Is it something good that can improve your strength? Give me a copy. Lu Yang really needs items that can enhance his strength. He watches these superpowers go hunting every day, but he can only dig iron ore every day. Although the income is good, he always feels insecure. He also wants to be extraordinary and extraordinary. If you want to live forever, you can usually only buy some high-quality meat steaks at a high price to improve your physique. Xiaohua 1, Brother Chen, send it out and take a look. If you think it's a good thing, you can't go wrong. Xiaohua went out hunting every day, and every time he harvested good things, after a few days, he gained an aura and slowly lost his previous childishness. When Chen Ci saw their replies, he didn't hesitate and directly sent the introduction of toilet paper to the group. Do you think there is a market for this? Lu Yang was a little disappointed. It's not an equipment blueprint. Wang Zixuan immediately bubbled up. Obviously he had been diving before. It's so marketable. Brother Chen gave me 10 units. I've really had enough these days. Wang Zixuan comes from a wealthy family and has been well-fed since he was a child. Although he has a good attitude and can quickly accept reality and actively strive for survival, he also hates life in the market world and can't help but break his guard when he sees toilet paper. Xiaohua 1, the equipment is not as good as toilet paper. Brother Chen, I want it too. I need it so much that my butt is about to burst. Lu Igua 8, Chen Ci, give me some too. The two ladies in the group didn't say anything, so they directly sent him trading private messages, maybe out of embarrassment. Chen Ci felt that there was a market for toilet paper, but he did not expect it to be so popular. However, when he thought about it, they were a small group. Everyone had specialties and their survival skills were not bad. They had passed the survival stage and began to pursue the quality of life. He distributed 10 units of toilet paper to everyone, and the cost price he charged was regarded as a benefit to several people in the group. As everyone was there, they took advantage of the situation to start today's material exchange. Chen Ci 997, Brother Lu, how much coal do you have now? I need about 100 units. Lu Igua didn't ask Chen Ci what he was doing with so much coal, and replied directly, 100 units is no problem. 1 unit of coal is exchanged for 4 units of wood. Please send me the transaction order. This is a very big discount price. Currently, 1 unit of coal on the market can be exchanged for 5 to 6 units of wood, because 1 unit of coal can burn for 6 hours, and 1 unit of wood can burn for 1 hour, and coal burns at a higher temperature. Chen Ci was not pretentious. The group helped each other and the atmosphere was very good. He directly sent the transaction application to Lu Igua and completed the coal transaction. Wang Zixuan saw that the two of them had completed the transaction, and then said in the group, I have made a batch of water purifiers, and plan to sell them after the acid rain test starts in a few days. If you need them now, you can send me a transaction order at the price of 80 units of wood. Others in the group responded immediately, and Chen Ci was no exception. He directly sent a transaction application to Zixuan. Regardless of whether there is acid rain or not, water purification equipment is a necessity. Obtain water purifier *1. Introduction. The water purifier produced by the system is made of ordinary materials and can purify water quality. The effect is better when used with charcoal. The water purifier is a 1 meter high rectangular parallelepiped. The upper part is the water inlet, which can be used to pour the water that needs to be purified. The lower part is the water outlet, where wooden buckets can be placed to collect water. There is a window in the middle work area where charcoal can be added. Chen Xiai was a little surprised when he saw the introduction of the water purifier. He didn't expect that the purification efficiency could be improved by adding charcoal, but when he thought about it, charcoal could indeed be used as a purification substance. He put the water purifier in the kitchen and poured in a bucket of river water, intending to test the effect, and the transaction in the group continued. Song Yerui 5, I harvested a shelter facility nursery today, where I can grow some medicinal materials or food. If you have any unnecessary seeds, try to trade them to me. Then she showed the properties of the nursery. Nursery, boutique. Introduction. It comes with 20 cubic meters of planting space, which can shorten the growth time of planted crops by 30%. When used with fertilizer, the effect will be better. This is a resource building. Upgrading the level 3 shelter requires a resource building. Chen Xiai looked at the nursery with envy. He was stuck by the resource building and the core altar. Song Yerui added, I made several bottles of antidote potions. Because of the lack of medicinal materials, each person can only trade one bottle. Try to trade with stones. Each bottle is traded for 150 units of stone. This is the introduction of the potion. Antidote. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Properties, invulnerable to all poisons within 10 minutes after taking it. Introduction, it can eliminate level 0 toxins and has a suppressive effect on level 1 toxins. Lu Yang 2, Sister Song, you are so awesome. Can you make this? Wang Zixuan also said, it really feels like I'm living in a game. Lu Xiaoya, there are too many supernatural things in this world. Chen Xiai thought to himself, you will probably be even more surprised when you see the water of life. Antidote potion is a life at a certain time, and everyone is very active in trading life-saving things. The rest of the people had no new items to trade today, so the exchange meeting came to an end. They shared some of their findings with each other. Most of Chen Xiai knew it, but Lu Aigua told a new situation. Lu Aigua 8, animals in the wild are evolving rapidly. I found a group of wolves around the sanctuary before. The first wolf was only of ordinary quality before, but now it has become elite quality. The speed and strength of the wolves are increasing. Chen Xiai couldn't help but feel shocked when he saw this. He thought of the mutated python he encountered today and the wild boar he saw in the back mountain before. Their size and strength were different from ordinary animals. He thought they were like this before. Chang now realized that they may have evolved after coming to the ruin world. Others are also worried, especially Lu Yang, whose area around the shelter has not been cleaned up yet. It seems that dangerous animals around the sanctuary need to be removed in time to prevent tiger breeding. Chen Xiai plans to go to the back mountain tomorrow, and it's time to go find the wild boar to settle the score. Seeing that the group chat gradually became silent, Chen Xiai quit the group chat. He also wanted to make some preparations for tomorrow. First, I went to the tool table and issued the task of producing 2,000 units of toilet paper. Judging from the reactions of several people in the group, I think there is no need to worry about the sales of toilet paper. He has been busy since he came back. He hasn't had dinner yet, so he took out the last piece of roasted lynx meat and dry food from the kitchen, and drank some fine honey water to fill his stomach. While eating, I opened the trading channel and found the survivor who sold warm stone, ice crystal and ebony ironwood last time. I placed an order for 50 units of each. The prices of these items have dropped a lot, and the total cost of wood is 350 units. The value of these materials is not high, and the sales volume is not good. These are basically their inventory, and they need to be booked in advance next time they trade. Chen Xiai bought these materials to synthesize resources. Yesterday, he experimented with a slightly stable synthesis formula and planned to repeat the experiment. Chapter 31 Experimental Synthesis and Vine Walls. After dinner, Chen Xiai looked at the prepared materials, concentrated his attention, and summoned the synthesis furnace. He wanted to do an experiment first. Take out the materials used to synthesize the explosive stone yesterday. Main material, crossbow arrow *1, auxiliary material, wood *5, warm stone *1, coal *1, put them into the synthesis furnace one by one, directly enter the mental power without hesitation, and confirm the synthesis. A burst of blue light flashed, and red stones fell on the table. Obtain explosive stone, blue, *1. Success. It seems that if the materials used to synthesize items are the same, it is possible to obtain the same synthesized items. Chen Ci was very excited. This was the first time he had synthesized the same item. He felt that he had mastered the rules of synthesis. One success does not mean everything, try again. After gathering his mood, he summoned the synthesis furnace, put the same synthetic materials into the synthesis furnace, input his mental power, and confirmed the synthesis. The same blue light flashed, but what appeared on the table was a crossbow arrow. Crossbow arrow. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Attribute, increase hit rate by 30%. Introduction, a fine crossbow arrow, easier to hit the target. This time the main material has been strengthened. Chen Ci was a little disappointed, but the mutation rate was not 100%, and both enhanced synthesis and synthesis failure were possible. Chen Ci tried it twice more without giving up and successfully obtained 2 explosive stones. He confirmed that it was indeed possible to obtain the same item by combining the same materials, but the specific probability was random. It may be that the synthesis failed, or it may be that the main material is strengthened. After putting away the explosive stones and crossbow arrows, Chen Ci's mental power dropped to 2 points. He could not continue to synthesize it today. He would always leave 2 points of mental power just in case. To survive alone, too low a mental power would affect his response to danger. Responsiveness. After clearing away the synthetic materials on the table, Chen Ci mentioned the cage containing the white mouse. It looked like it had not recovered yet and was wilted. Is the little guy depressed? I wonder if the system has skills like animal taming. If this continues, I don't know when I will be able to tame him. Chen Ci scratched his head. He had never kept a pet, so he didn't know what the current condition of the white mouse was. Unlike the horned bee swarm, which has a controller to communicate, Chen Ci cannot sense the mouse's emotions. He can only put some food in it and let it out of the cage after it gets familiar with it. Putting the cage next to the bed in the bedroom, Chen Ci looked at the mouse with gentle eyes and said, "Good night, Xiao Bai." In any case, there is one more member in the shelter, and it is less deserted. Turn off the lights and go to sleep. Next day. Weather on day 7 of Ruins World, light fog turning sunny, temperature 9 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius. After getting up early this morning, Chen Ci did not go to practice sword skills immediately. He first went to take a look at the condition of the fire poison thorn vine. In front of the fence gate, Chen Ci looked at the thorn vines in front of him in a daze. One night passed, the fire poison thorn vines had covered half of the fence in front of the shelter. The fiery red leaves were fluttering in the wind, and the hard wooden thorns were all facing outside the fence. The fences form a strong thorny vine wall. Whoever hits this thorny vine wall will die. He felt that his sense of security had greatly increased. After getting closer, the fire poison thorn vine took the initiative to stretch out a vine and touch the vine in front of it. A thought came, probably because it needed more nutrients to quickly surround the entire fence. The plant growth liquid is gone, so you can only grow slowly. Chen Ci touched the vine and opened it to explore. Fire poison thorn vine. Level 0. Quality, boss. Attributes, fire poison is strengthened by 50%, skill mutation and evolution. Skills, mutation evolution, passive skills, which can evolve by adapting to the environment and energy. Introduction, this is an extraordinary plant, and it is also a moving plant. When prey enters the attack range, the thorn vine will wrap its vines around the prey, inject fire poison, and kill the enemy. Fences, fire poison thorn vines and arrow towers. As long as the thorn vines can cover the entire shelter, I can declare that I am no longer afraid of level 0 enemies. I will die as many as they come. Chen Xiai looked excitedly at the thorn vines in front of him. Fence, thinking about the future defense form of the shelter, a super tough hedgehog. The nutrients that fire poison vine needs are mainly animal and plant corpses, fertilizers, or growth solutions. The carcasses of animals and plants are terrible. All survivors need them. Plant growth liquid can be purchased. Most survivors probably don't need plant growth liquid at the moment. After checking the status of the fire poison thorn vine, Chen Xiai returned to the stone house to prepare breakfast. He took out 2 zebra steaks and the red mushrooms collected earlier, and used the stove to make mushroom stew. It was said to be stewed, but it was actually boiled. He had no seasonings except salt. Fortunately, the ingredients tasted very good, and the boiling had a unique flavor. After breakfast, Chen Xiai opened the trading channel and checked the sales volume of yesterday's bucklers. He was about to withdraw his harvest, but found that half of the bucklers had not been sold, and even the 100 bucklers marked with glass prices had not been sold. His face changed, and he hurriedly checked the trading channel information and found that several large-scale survival alliances had launched a large number of small buckler shields, large square shields, rattan shields, and leather shields. Suddenly, there was no shortage of shields in the market. His small buckler became inconspicuous among them, and the price was not cheap, which directly reduced sales. Chen Xiai said to himself with an ugly face, "It seems that the huge profits of the shield are coming to an end. Let's modify the price and process this batch first. We will observe the production later." Immediately, the exchange price of the remaining 300 small bucklers was changed to wood *12. At the same time, the 2,000 units of toilet paper produced yesterday were put on the shelves, and each unit was exchanged for 2 units of wood. After solving the trading channel, it was dawn outside. Chen Xiai originally planned to go find the wild boar in the morning to take revenge. However, seeing the fog with a visibility of about 100 meters outside, he could only postpone his departure until the fog cleared. After taking off his rattan armor, Chen Xiai came to the yard with the Tangheng Dao in his hand, warmed up briefly, swallowed the red fruit, and began to practice the Xuanxu Dao technique. Basically every time he swallows the red fruit and practices, he can increase his skill proficiency by 8% to 10%. After practicing this morning, his proficiency in Xuanxu sword technique has reached 14%. I continued practicing until noon, when the fog outside cleared up. After briefly washing up, eating the rest of the stew in the morning, and drinking a glass of honey water, Chen Xiai put on his rattan armor, held Tangheng Dao, used the swarm controller to summon horn bees, and set off for the Haoshan Mountains. There was a swarm of horned bees clearing the way. Chen Xiai smoothly reached the gentle slope that he had gone up the mountain to, and made simple repairs, allowing the swarm of horned bees to explore the way ahead. When he came to this mountain forest again, although he was still unfamiliar, he was more calm than the first time. According to his previous memory, he crossed the lush trees and came to the place where the red fruits were harvested last time. Not long ago, the last battle. The traces have not yet been buried by the forest. The wild boar's territory should not be far from here. Let the bees spread out and search. The last battle took place here, which means that this place is within the range of the wild boar's activities, so that the swarm search can find it faster. If the wild boar can be discovered in advance, Chen Xiai will have time to set up the battlefield in advance. Not long after, Chen Xiai said in surprise, "Did you find anything?" Chapter 32 Sneak Attack. When Chen Xiai saw the returning bee swarm, he immediately got up and followed the bee swarm to find the beast they found. After consciousness training, they can probably distinguish what a large beast is, and will no longer mistake a rabbit for a tiger. The beast was not far away, probably about a kilometer away, and the bee swarm signaled that Chen Xiai had found it in front. "Hornbee, go investigate." After all, after some time, Chen Xiai asked the swarm to confirm whether the prey was still there, and soon received confirmation that the prey had not left. Chen Xiai looked serious, holding a shield in his left hand and a crossbow in his right hand. He gently pushed aside the branches and held his breath to check. What he saw was not the wild boar he imagined, but a gray-haired antelope. At this time, his gaze may have made the antelope feel the impending danger. It suddenly stopped eating grass, raised its head and looked around, and stamped its forehooves uneasily a few times, as if it was about to run away. But Chen Ci was not slow. He pulled the trigger of the crossbow as soon as he found out it was an antelope, and a black shadow quickly shot at the antelope that wanted to escape. Even though the antelope was alert enough, it was still a step too late and was shot in the back by a flying crossbow while escaping. The antelope didn't realize that it had been hit by an arrow and quickly ran into the forest. Catch up and look for an opportunity to sting it. Chen Ci was not in a hurry when he saw the antelope fleeing. He knew that he could not catch up with his speed, so he ordered the swarm to fly in pursuit, and he followed along the traces. The antelope running in front became slower and slower due to the continuous bleeding from the wound. The horned bee swarm, which was not affected by the mountain and forest environment, quickly approached. Several horned bees landed on the back of the antelope, stretched out their stingers and pierced it, injecting the paralyzing toxin. Inject into the antelope. When Chen Ci saw the antelope again, it was lying on the ground weak due to toxins and blood loss, and the blood flowing out formed a pool of blood. Chen Ci drew out the Tang Heng Dao, slashed it down, and waved his hand to collect it with a calm expression. Get steak, blue, *4, animal skin, white, *1. The harvest is not bad. Hornbee Queen continues to search for wild boars. Chen Ci did not waste much money and did not waste time. He put the exploded wooden treasure box into the inventory and ordered the bees to continue searching, while he searched for supplies nearby and surveyed the environment. In the quiet mountain forest, Chen Ci was squatting behind a big rock, carefully sticking his head out and looking at the rock wall in the distance. There are a few small pine trees sparsely scattered on the steep rock wall. Through the lush weeds in front of you, you can see a cave where the rock wall intersects with the mountainside. The entrance of the cave is very large, 3 meters wide and 4 meters high, forming a triangle from top to bottom. Narrow at the top and wide at the bottom, with a large green vine hanging down, half covering the entrance of the cave. Chen Ci followed the swarm to 2 places before, both of which were small animals. The cave in front of him was the 4th suspected wild boar target found by the swarm. He was basically sure that the cave in front of him was the wild boar's lair, because he saw a lot of pig hair on the rock wall at the entrance of the cave, which should have been dropped when the wild boar rubbed against it. He listened carefully and heard constant snoring coming from the cave. Out. Hornbee flew into the cave and checked, confirming that there was only one beast inside. Chen Ci thought carefully about it. He didn't know when the wild boar left the cave, and he didn't have time to wait here in case it came out at night. Foraging, then he missed it today. He needs to take the initiative. The advantage lies in the fact that the enemy is in the open and we are in the dark. I have to first explore the situation in the cave and try to kill it with one blow. Chen Ci moved gently to the entrance of the cave and slowly looked into the cave. Fortunately, the cave was not deep. The refracted sunlight brought the scenery inside the cave into view. A huge boar head more than 3 meters long. Lying in the cave facing outside, the sound of snoring was loud. Chen Ci turned around and looked at the surrounding terrain. There was a gentle slope in front of the cave entrance. Apart from the big stone where he was hiding just now, there was no other obstruction nearby. It was estimated that all the trees here had been cleared by wild boars. Chen Ci probably had an idea. He touched the Hornbee Queen's little head inside in his heart. It seems that the only way to use the trump card is to use it. He took out the swarm controller and directed the horned queen bee to fly into the cave carefully. The wild boar was still sleeping soundly and didn't care about flying insects the size of a wasp. This was Chen Ci's opportunity. The horned queen bee slowly flew to the wild boar's neck and landed gently. The sting behind her slowly came out. Yes, Chen Ci planned to use the horned queen bee's poisonous sting just to be sure. The queen bee's paralyzing toxin was still effective against level 0 wild boars. It has a huge effect. The bee needle slowly pierced the wild boar's neck. The pain of the wound was nothing to the wild boar, and it had no reaction. The Hornbee Queen quickly injected the paralyzing venom, dropped the broken stinger, and flew away quickly. Get out of the cave. Chen Ci directed the bee swarm to stay away from the cave. They would not be able to help in the battle for a while. Ordinary horn bees could not even pierce the skin of a wild boar. He took out 2 explosive stones from the inventory, held them carefully in his hands, and hid beside the cave, waiting for the paralysis toxin to explode, when he suddenly heard the snoring of a wild boar. The boar realized something was wrong. Chen Xiai made a quick decision and immediately threw the 2 explosive rocks in his right hand at the wild boar that was about to wake up. After throwing them, he immediately turned sideways to avoid the entrance of the cave and took out the ice pattern repeating crossbow. At this time, the wild boar in the cave just felt something was wrong with his body. When he opened his eyes, he saw 2 small red stones flying to his head, and exploded at the moment of collision. Boom! Chen Xiai heard a loud noise outside the cave, and then felt the rock wall behind him tremble, and some gravel fell. When a puff of smoke and dust came out, Chen Xiai turned sideways and looked into the cave. He saw the huge wild boar getting up unsteadily and slowly walking towards the entrance of the cave. One of its ears was gone, one of its eyes was blind, and half of it was blind. The head was bloody, and the whole pig was still in a dizzy state. Seeing this, Chen Xiai worked together with both hands and pulled the trigger one after another, and the crossbow arrows hit the boar's head like a rain. The wild boar was dizzy now and had no ability to dodge at all. The crossbow arrows were all missed and all entered its bloody head. Chapter 33 Resource Building Geothermal Hot Spring. Ouch! Accompanied by the wild boar's screams, Chen Xiai quickly put the ice pattern repeating crossbow into the inventory, took out the Tang Hengdao, stepped forward quickly, and used the proficient Xuanqiu sword technique. He took 1 step forward, thrust forward, and gathered all his strength to on the knife. As fast as lightning, it pierced the boar's head from the side where the crossbow arrows were concentrated. The wild boar's head suddenly rose up. Chen Xiai felt a huge force coming from the tiger's mouth, and the tiger's mouth hurt. He let go and jumped up. He swung the snakeskin shield with his left hand and hit the hilt of Tang Heng's knife. Tang Heng's knife was completely engulfed in the wild boar's head. The wild boar screamed, staggered back 2 steps, and fell to the ground, its fat body twitching slightly. Congratulations to the survivor for defeating a powerful enemy and receiving a silver battle chest *1. The moment he heard the prompt, Chen Xiai knew that he had won. As soon as his nervous spirit relaxed, he felt a little weak in his body. Although the time just now was short, he had actually concentrated all his energy and strength. Take a deep breath, steady your body, and step forward to check the wild boar's attributes. Mutated wild boar, boss, a wild boar mutated by unknown influences, with rough skin, thick flesh, and immense strength. The wild boar is dead. Only the introduction can be seen, but the specific attributes cannot be seen. Chen Xiai came to the body of the mountain boar, stretched out his hand and held the handle of the knife, and when he exerted force, it didn't move at all. Damn it, it's too deep. I can't pull it out at all. Chen Xiai touched his head in distress. He only had this knife, and he couldn't pull it out now. When he collects wild boars later, the system will not turn his knife into an iron block. Probably not, the ruins world is not that kind of mentally retarded system. Chen Xiai muttered a few words. He didn't have the tools to dissect the wild boar, so he had no choice but to bite the bullet and use his gathering skills. A burst of light enveloped the wild boar's body. I don't know if it was an illusion, but the collection time seemed to be longer this time. The wild boars slowly disappeared. Get meat steak, blue, *25, animal skin, orange, *5, animal bone, blue, *10, animal tooth, blue, *2. Chen Xiai was very excited when he saw the harvest, 25 units of high-quality meat steaks, a great harvest, plus what we obtained before. There will be no shortage of high-quality meat steaks for a while. Orange animal skin, if the synthesis talent can control it better, it can definitely be synthesized into an orange armor. Feeling a little regretful, Chen Xiai muttered while stuffing all the gains into his backpack. After counting the harvest, Chen Xiai saw at a glance that his Tang Hengdao was lying quietly at the place where the wild boar disappeared. He picked up the knife with a joyful expression, and immediately his smile froze. He found that the tip of Tang Hengdao was a little chipped. It should have been caused by the forced insertion of the wild boar's head just now. We can only use it for now. Now the survivors are short of weapons. We will find a way to get a good knife later. Chen Xiai thought that Tang Hengdao could follow him to the first level, but he didn't expect that he would be damaged so quickly, and he felt a little distressed. The synthesis function is not that reliable. If it fails, it will be all over. Tang Hengdao was not seriously damaged, so he rashly synthesized it. Whether it mutated into other items or the synthesis failed, he would not be able to find such a sharp weapon in a short time. Although there was a slight flaw in this hunt, the hunt was completed safely and a major threat to the sanctuary was eliminated. Overall, it was very successful. Before leaving, Chen Xiai carefully searched the cave and found nothing except some animal bones and wild fruits. The wild boars had not been here long. Chen Xiai did not stay in the mountains any longer. This trip was fruitful. It was getting late and he had other things to do. Going down the mountain the same way, we have already searched when we came here, so we don't have to stop and search, and the time to go back is greatly shortened. After going down the mountain, Chen Xiai did not return to the shelter immediately. He first took a detour to check the 5 animal traps he had placed before. 4 of them were empty and the bait was gone. Only 1 trap contained a harvest and trapped an animal. Pheasant. After rearranging the trap and tying the pheasant with vines, Chen Xiai rushed to the shelter without stopping. By the time he arrived at the shelter, it was already dark. It started to fog before dark. Fortunately, there were horned bees guiding the way. Otherwise, we would have been lost in the night fog and couldn't find our way back to the shelter. Be sure to pay attention to the time next time. Chen Xiai returned to the shelter with lingering fears. Chen Xiai quickly became busy and no longer thought about the terrifying night wilderness. He first used wood to build a nest for the pheasant next to the poisonous thorn vine, put some food and water in it, and told the pheasant vine to keep an eye on it and not let it escape. I don't know if this chicken can lay eggs, or it will have to be kept as a food reserve. After building the nest, I gave 50 grams of royal jelly to the hornbee queen. This is today's big contributor. I need to reward it and I also look forward to it evolving with the help of royal jelly. He himself simply ate 2 bowls of instant noodles and added bird eggs. It's too late, so there will be no barbecue. After appeasing the 5 Zong temple, he took out the 2 treasure boxes dropped today, 1 wooden and 1 silver, and opened the wooden treasure box casually. Get latex mattress *1, sportswear set *1, outdoor headlamp *1. No need to sleep on the bed board. Chen Xiai liked soft beds when he was in Blue Star. These days, he has been sleeping on a bed board if he has no conditions. He wakes up every morning with back pain, so now he just needs a latex mattress. The second kind of sportswear is also good, +1 for a change of clothes. The last headlamp is a rechargeable model, with a charging cable and a yellow strap on the back that can be tied to the forehead. Chen Xiai put it on and tried it. It was much brighter than a torch, and he could free one hand. He happened to have a solar power bank, so he didn't have to worry about being unable to charge the headlamp after it was used up. The resources in the wooden treasure chest are very practical. Chen Xiai looked at the silver treasure chest with some anticipation. This was the second time he got a battle treasure chest. I hope there are altar drawings or resource drawings in it. The treasure chest opened and light flashed. The light dissipated, and 3 light balls appeared on the wooden table, 1 blue and 2 orange, exuding an alluring light. Chen Xiai shouted excitedly, 1 high-quality item and 2 rare items. Following the principle of first going low and then going high, he first picked up the blue ball of light. There was a small box inside. He couldn't see clearly what it was, so he crushed it hard. What appeared on the table was a white box with a red cross on the top. He knew it was medical supplies at a glance. Exquisite medical kit. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Attribute, medical effect increased by 30%. Introduction, this is a field medical kit, containing 10 hemostatic bandages, 5 disinfectant alcohol, 30 anti-inflammatory drugs, 30 painkillers, 3 epinephrine, 1 hemostatic forceps, 1 bandage scissors, essential for survival in the wild. Prepare artifacts. Medical kit, what a big surprise. For survivors in a dangerous world, no one can avoid accidental injuries. Put this medical kit in the trading channel and give it an orange item. After all, it is a life-saving thing. Chen Ci felt a little regretful. It's a pity that there is no cold medicine. The weather is getting colder, and it is very easy to catch wind and cold at this time. For survivors who lack clothing and medicine, sometimes a cold can be a life-or-death crisis. Withdrawing his thoughts, Chen Ci put the medical kit in the bedroom. Chen Ci picked up an orange ball of light and looked at it a little confused. The thing inside looked like a basin. Open it and take a look. After crushing the ball of light, what appeared in front of Chen Ci was a palm-sized hot spring model. The hot spring looked so vivid and lifelike that he could even see the mist floating above. Now he was even more unsure. Geothermal hot spring. Level 1. Quality, rare. Attributes: increase recovery speed by 50%, produce 1 drop of spiritual spring milk every week. Introduction: affected by the spiritual energy of the Earth's veins, the quality of the original ordinary hot spring has been upgraded to a level 1 rare spiritual spring, which can speed up the recovery of physical strength and injuries. A drop of spiritual spring milk is generated every 7 days, and the spiritual spring milk is a holy product for healing. So this is a resource building. Chen Ci had a look of surprise on his face. This model was the resource building he had been searching for many days. It was a level 1 hot spring that could provide healing power and water. Following the system prompts, Chen Ci knew that this model was the same as the core of the previous shelter. The reason was that the hot springs in the ruins world had been shrunk. As long as the location was found, the model could be placed. Under the power of the ruins world, the hot springs would automatically connect to the Earth's veins. Chen Ci looked at the dark night outside the shelter and could only hold back his excitement and wait until dawn tomorrow before setting up the hot spring. Putting the model into his inventory, he crushed the last orange ball of light, which was a blueprint. Chen Ci was full of expectant thoughts. Hope is the altar drawing. Chapter 34 Beast Taming Scroll. Martial Arts Training Ground Drawings. Level 1. Quality, rare. Attributes: increase practice concentration by 50%, reduce practice damage by 50%, additional attributes are only valid for level 1 and below. Materials required: stone *1000, wood *1000, iron block *200. Seeing that it was not an altar drawing, Chen Ci was slightly disappointed. Altar drawings are really rare. Then he adjusted himself. The building that assists cultivation is also quite good. It is indeed a silver treasure chest. Every piece is very practical. I must thank the wild boar for the gift. Thinking that the only thing left to upgrade the level 3 shelter was the altar drawing, Chen Ci had a bit of obsessive-compulsive disorder and subconsciously opened the trading channel, just in case someone foolishly sold it. What popped up immediately after opening was the transaction record of toilet paper and small bucklers, and then I remembered to check the sales of the items on the shelves during the day. When he opened his personal store, to his surprise, both bucklers and toilet paper were sold out, especially toilet paper. He did not limit the quantity purchased by a single person, and there were several large orders of thousands of units. The sales volume of toilet paper is very good. It can be used as a flagship product in the future, and we will produce another 7,000 units in a while. I was short of time during the day and didn't take a closer look. Now I just want to study what's going on with the small buckler and why it suddenly dived so much. Chen Ci thought of the small buckler he had hurriedly changed the price of during the day. A small buckler earned 8 units less wood. Rounding off, he almost lost a small target. He opened the trading channel and chat channel and searched for shield-related information to see if there were any clues. After a long time, Chen Ci raised his head and sighed. He finally figured out the whole story, and he was partly responsible for this. Survivor alliances with large populations such as the Hua League and the US League have experts who study the products in the trading channel 24 hours a day. They are not only responsible for purchasing rare items, but also study the profits and demand for bulk commodities. Chen Xi's high-priced small buckler just came into their sight. Its common production materials, high demand, and high profits made these survival alliances very jealous, and there was also a huge demand for shields within their alliance. Immediately, the major survival alliances began a series of wooing and acquisitions. Survivors with blueprints and even those who could produce shields were bought with huge sums of money. Someone has contacted Chen Xi a long time ago, but he has been unable to contact him because he found these people annoying and had blocked them all. Even if he contacted him, he would not be bribed. With the entry of large-scale survival alliances, people with shield blueprints were bribed, coupled with the huge basic resources within the alliance, the production of shields soared, and the number of shields on the market increased greatly. After other survival alliances also entered the market, the price inevitably, he was hit by a huge sales order. Chen Xi figured out the reason for the plunge in shield prices, but there was still one thing he couldn't figure out. How do they improve production efficiency? Ordinarily, even if there are sufficient resources, the number of shields produced by the tool bench in a day is limited. Chen Xi continued to search for information with confusion. Level 2 shelters come with a Level 2 tool table, and the Level 2 tool table can only make 2 tasks at a time. Each shield takes time to produce. A large number of shields suddenly appeared on the market. Either there are suddenly a large number of shield blueprints, or the Survivor League have ways to improve the efficiency of the tool table. He always felt that it was unlikely that a large number of shield blueprints would suddenly be found in treasure chests. Regarding this question, Chen Xi quickly found the answer in the chat channel. After he asked the question, some survivors responded enthusiastically. The content of the reply is very simple, an introduction to the item and some instructions for use. Shelter Building Expansion Scroll, it can expand the built-in building of the shelter to an additional function. Shelters such as workshops, fireplaces, bedrooms, etc. have their own buildings. After using the scroll, these buildings can add an additional attribute. Each building can add up to 3 attributes. Scrolls can be used in the workshop to add attributes that increase production. Chen Xi has been busy recently and has not spent much energy in the chat channel and trading channel, so he has missed some information. However, it is not too late now. By searching the scrolls in the system, he found a few more good things that he had not seen before. Building Upgrade Scroll, it can upgrade the level of the shelter building, which requires additional consumption of materials. Building Quality Improvement Scroll, it can improve the quality of the shelter building. Additional precious materials are required. Animal Taming Scroll, you can tame animals, except intelligent creatures, and make them obey the survivor's orders. The first 2 are just introductions seen in the chat channel, and the actual items are not sold in the trading channel. The last Animal Taming Scroll does not have a large audience, but some people are selling it. The Level 0 scroll sells for 500 units of wood. Chen Xi 997, boss, this scroll of yours can only tame Level 0 animals, and you ask not to resist. Selling it for 500 is too expensive. 300 wood, if it works, I will take it. The other party was obviously online and replied in seconds, after all, this is a mysterious power. The minimum is 400. If it's less, I'll keep it for myself. Chen Xi paid back the price with the other party several times, but the seller still refused to lower the price for 400 units of wood. He went to other companies to inquire about the same scrolls, but they were basically the same. Finally, Chen Xi bought the scroll for 390 units of wood. Down. Beast Taming Scroll, Level 0, the target is required to be at Level 0 and has no ability to resist. After being tamed, the target can simply understand the survivor's instructions. Chen Xi stared at the Animal Taming Scroll in his hand and thought to himself, this scroll can be used on Xiaobai. If Xiaobai becomes a pet recognized by the system, then its good luck attribute should be able to affect me, right? That's right, Chen Xi is still trying to get Xiaobai to have good luck. He took the scroll and took Xiaobai out of the cage in the bedroom. Chen Xi looked at the wilting white mouse and said with a smile, Xiaobai, it's so dangerous for you to survive in the wild. It's very precarious. Not only is it safe to follow me, but you can also eat delicious food and drink spicy food. Look at this honey water. Where can you find it outside? After saying that, he took out the honey water and shook it in front of Xiao Bai's eyes, then put it away. Xiao Bai's eyes widened and he followed the honey water around. When he saw the honey water disappear, he glanced at Chen Xiai and continued to lie down in a daze. Chen Xiai knew that this little white mouse was very humane. After all, force was not good, it could only be induced. He took out the honey water, added a few extra drops of fine honey, put it in front of Xiao Bai and said, "If you don't resist for a while, you will be killed every day in the future. I'll give you honey and water to drink." With that said, he pushed the wooden bowl in front of Xiao Bai and slowly came closer. Xiao Bai's eyes lit up when he saw the honey water close at hand. He drank honey water yesterday and knew that it was of great benefit to him. Watching Xiao Bai jumping into the bowl, Chen Xiai silently opened the animal training scroll and used it on Xiao Bai. A white light emerged from the scroll and spread to Xiao Bai. Xiao Bai, who was concentrating on drinking the honey water, showed no reaction. The scroll slowly disappeared. The system also sends a prompt message. Congratulations on taming the white mouse. Chapter 35 Rains of Bones. After hearing the prompt, Chen Xiai immediately confirmed that the domestication was successful. He concentrated and could vaguely sense Xiao Bai's emotions, and some delicious thoughts came to him. According to the prompts of the animal taming scroll, after being successfully tamed, his ability to perceive Xiao Bai's consciousness will gradually increase, and Xiao Bai will gradually increase his intelligence, and will gradually be able to understand the meaning of his words. At the same time, Xiao Bai's loyalty will become stronger and stronger. Come higher and higher. Xiao Bai's energy improved significantly after drinking the honey water, and he no longer thought about escaping. He slowly walked to Chen Xi's feet and lay down. "I hope you can bring good luck to the master." Chen Xiai looked hopeful. He really hoped to get Xiao Bai's good luck blessing. Picking up Xiao Bai and putting it on his lap, Chen Xiai continued what he was doing. He had figured out the whole story of the shield's price drop, so he searched for the current market price of the shield on the trading channel. According to the listed price, the current price of a small buckler is 11 units of wood, but there is still a downward trend. The cost of a small buckler is 7 units of wood. The current profit is 3 to 4 units of wood, and the profit has dropped significantly. Another point is that the sales speed is slow now. In the past, it was basically sold out soon after it was put on the shelves. Chen Xiai finally decided to temporarily give up the production of small bucklers and replace them with new main products. He did not intend to get involved in the shield price war, and his size did not support participating in the war. After making up his mind, he was about to issue the toilet paper production task, but then the system sent a private message to remind him. Chen Xiai opened it and saw that it was Wang Lei who had previously traded him the drawings of the recliner. He had sent some information about the Blood Evil Alliance and the general results of today. He shook his head with a headache. What's going on with this brother? This Wang Lei seemed to be conquered by his domineering aura, insisting on being his little brother. He took the initiative to report his gains every day, and also spontaneously collected information about the Blood Evil Alliance. The subjective performance of his work made the capitalists overjoyed. Although Chen Xiai was not interested in his gains and did not want to accept him as his younger brother, these could not dampen Wang Lei's enthusiasm. He still took the initiative to report and wait for instructions every day. Chen Xiai had nothing to do about it. He couldn't directly block Wang Lei. After all, he was still an acquaintance. He had taken advantage of the recliner drawing before, so he could only deal with it casually and finally traded 5 units of wood to Wang Lei to express his encouragement. After dealing with Wang Lei, Chen Xiai immediately went to the workshop and produced 100 crossbow arrows first. The previous crossbow arrows had been scrapped while hunting wild boar, and a batch of new ones were urgently needed. The production of the crossbow arrows was quickly completed, and Chen Xiai issued an order to produce 7,000 units of toilet paper. This time the production time will be longer and will need to be tomorrow. It would be nice if there was an expansion scroll, but the efficiency of the tool table is too slow now. After learning about the expanded scroll, he now dislikes the productivity of his own tool table. Returning to the wooden table, rubbing Xiao Bai on the wooden table, Chen Xiai took out the prepared materials for today's synthesis. First, synthesize a few explosive stones to replenish the inventory. This thing is so useful. Chen Xiai was very satisfied with the power of the explosive stones. Half of the success of hunting wild boar during the day was attributed to the huge power of the explosive stones. Concentrate on summoning the synthesis furnace and put in the materials to confirm the synthesis. Obtain enhanced crossbow arrow *1. Chen Xiai looked confused. Try again. Put the material in again, and a burst of blue light flashed. Obtain explosive stone *1. Let me tell you, it seems it was an accident just now. Chen Xiai thinks that he usually has good luck and should not be a non-chief. He said confidently, although I am not a European emperor, I am not a non-chief either. After putting away the explosive stones, he wanted to synthesize them again to prove that he was not a non-chief. Obtain enhanced crossbow arrow *1. Damn it, damn it. Chen Xiai looked at the crossbows on the table speechlessly, always feeling insulted. My luck is average now. It must be because I have used up my luck by opening boxes before and haven't recovered yet. I'm not usually like this. Chen Xiai glanced at Xiao Bai next to him, feeling that he was being despised, and stretched out his hand to rub its head twice. Xiao Bai, lend me some luck to the master. The master opened the box before and used it for our family. Too many. Xiao Bai glanced at him lightly. Zhi. He stretched out his little paw and touched Chen Xi's hand, as if to say he still had to rely on me. Although Chen Xiai didn't know if it was useful, he was very happy with Xiao Bai's interaction. It's not a good time to synthesize explosive rocks today. I'll try something else. Let me take a look at the main material. Use the saddle and reins I got before. This is useless. It would be a pity to lose it. The auxiliary material will use these 8 units of bones. Let me check the success rate. The synthesis success rate is 75% and the mutation rate is 70%. Do you want to synthesize it? Oh, the success rate is average, but the mutation rate is so high. This is fine. If I really want to strengthen the saddle, it's useless for me to hold it. This is the plan, synthesis. Chen Xi's mental power slowly entered the synthesis furnace, and soon he saw a familiar blue light emerging. Obtain skeleton reins *1. Success, let me see what it is. Chen Xiai was very happy and succeeded again. Although the material was not valuable, it was a shameful waste. The saddle on the table disappeared, leaving only a rein. Check the attributes directly. Skeleton reins. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Attribute, additional skill collision. Skill, collision. After activating the skill, the linear movement speed is increased by 100%, lasting for 10 seconds, and has a probability of causing the enemy to be stunned. Introduction, waving the reins can summon a skeleton horse as a mount. The skeleton horse is tireless, exists for 2 hours, and can be summoned once a day. Damn it, summoning equipment, Xiao Bai, you are really my lucky favor, come and eat some honey to replenish your body. This surprise was so unexpected that Chen Xiai couldn't control his words. This piece of equipment could summon a skeleton horse and directly transform him from infantry to cavalry, greatly improving his mobility and combat effectiveness. No, I have to try. Chen Xiai couldn't hold back his excitement. He wouldn't be able to sleep if he didn't try today, no matter how dark it was outside. Today's summons are a waste if not used. It's a shameful waste. Chen Xiai quickly ran outside the shelter and took out the reins to summon the skeleton horse. As the summoning was completed, he saw a flash of black energy in the space in front of him, and a bone horse more than 1 meter tall and 2 meters long, with its whole body made of snow-white bones, appeared in front of him. When you get close to the skeleton horse and look at it carefully, its eyes are 2 dancing black flames. The flames give people a cold and dead feeling, without any warmth. On the horse's back is the saddle that disappeared before, but the material of the saddle has changed. It is also made of bones and has been integrated with the bone horse. Chen Xiai got on the horse and held the reins in his hand. He could control the movement of the skeleton horse with his thoughts. With a thought, the skeleton horse started running. After jogging around the shelter, Chen Xiai didn't feel any bumps, and the bone saddle was unexpectedly comfortable. Probably the only drawback is that it's a little scary. Riding a bone horse at night, other people would probably guess whether he was a human or a ghost. Although the area around the shelter was open and there were no obstacles, Chen Xiai did not let the skeleton horse run quickly. He just circled the shelter a few more times to experience the feeling of riding a horse. After enjoying himself, Chen Xiai dismissed the summons. The skeleton horse turned into black energy and disappeared, and the reins were put into the inventory. It's too late. It's time to go and rest. I accidentally played until now. Chen Xiai quickly finished washing up and lay down on the warm quilt. Sleep soon came over him, but before falling asleep, he felt as if he had forgotten to do something. Chapter 36 Buildings and Bees. Day 8 in Ruins World, moderate fog turning to clear, 7 degrees Celsius to 15 degrees Celsius. The acid rain test counts down to 3 days, and we ask the living to hurry up and prepare. System prompt: beasts in the mist will become more violent, and the kill rate will increase. Chen Xiai opened his eyes and immediately turned on the system to check the weather for the day. The fog, wild beasts, and upcoming acid rain all at once drove away his sleepiness. Carefully ponder the meaning of the system prompts. The fog outside will be bigger today. Affected by the fog, the beasts will become more aggressive and the danger of going out will increase. However, the Ruins World has also increased the explosion rate. High risk and high reward encourage survivors to fight. Open the chat channel, and as expected, it is full of guesses and experiments about system prompts. I just went out to explore. The visibility is less than 100 meters in the fog outside. It's very easy to get lost. Help, there is something in the fog around my shelter. I can only see a blurry figure. I dare not go out. Upstairs, do you have enough supplies? Don't wait desperately for death. The test is coming again. I don't know how many people will die this time. A bunch of cowards who don't even know how to gain wealth and wealth from danger? I just went out and saw a fat rabbit. It rushed towards me stupidly. I killed it with a knife and exploded a treasure chest. I envy the European emperor. Damn, you're so lucky. Chen Xiai browsed the exchanges in the chat channel and had a general understanding of the situation outside. The fog was too heavy and it was easy to get lost if he left the shelter too far. However, animals were also affected, as evidenced by that silly rabbit. The fog is getting thicker day by day. Chen Xiai shook his head. Forget it, it's useless to think too much, get some food, seize the time to practice in the morning, and see if you go out in the afternoon. Breakfast is quite rich, including a bowl of instant noodles, a portion of dry food, a cup of honey water, and an apple to supplement vitamins after the meal. Chen Xiai drank the honey water in one gulp and said with emotion, in terms of refreshing the mind, this honey water is better than coffee. If we buy it in Blue Star, many people will buy it at a high price. After breakfast, Chen Xiai went to the front yard. Before practicing his sword skills, he had to repair the martial arts field first. After some thought, Chen Xiai planned to build the martial arts training ground in front of the left side of the stone house. There was enough open space here, and it was also convenient to be alert to the outside situation when practicing martial arts. After deciding on the construction location, go back to the warehouse to take inventory of materials. Wood *2468, stone *5000, iron *393, glass *73. The inventory is enough to build a martial arts training ground. Remember to ask Lu Yang to exchange for some iron blocks at night. After the martial arts training ground is built, the inventory is too low. You need to ensure the inventory. If you have the altar drawing, you can directly upgrade the shelter. Chen Xiai came to the living room, took out the drawings of the martial arts training ground, concentrated on calling out the core of the shelter, placed the drawings on top of the core, and confirmed the construction. The familiar three-dimensional top view of the shelter appears. Chen Xiai quickly determined the construction location of the martial arts training ground on the overhead view, and the materials in the warehouse turned into white light and slowly disappeared. In the chosen location of the martial arts training ground in the front yard, a shadow was slowly solidifying. At the same time, Chen Xiai received a reminder from the shelter and knew why so many materials were consumed in this construction, because all he used were ordinary quality materials. If high-quality materials were used, the amount used would be greatly reduced. The prepared materials disappeared completely, and the shadow of the martial arts training ground solidified instantly. Quickly walked to the martial arts training ground and looked around. A 10-meter by 10-meter square came into view. The ground was paved with bluestone, and it was divided into several areas. There were plum blossom piles for practicing body skills, and there were areas for practicing boxing and kicking. There are wooden dummies and a martial arts field for practicing weapons. The weapons racks in the martial arts field include swords, guns, swords, halberds, axes, hooks and forks, and 18 kinds of weapons. Chen Xiai stepped forward and picked up an iron knife, and he held it lightly. At this time, the system sent a reminder that he could change the shape of the weapon and turn it into a familiar weapon. The first time was free, and additional materials would be required to modify it again. As soon as he thought about it, the iron sword in his hand turned into a familiar horizontal sword shape. He waved it a few times and it felt good. He suddenly thought of something and walked out of the martial arts training ground with the sword in hand. The moment Chen Xiai walked out of the martial arts training ground, the iron sword in his hand turned into debris and disappeared, while a horizontal sword reappeared on the weapon rack in the martial arts training ground. As expected, it won't work. There is no advantage to be taken. He just tried to bring weapons out of the training ground. If he can succeed, it will be equivalent to getting a batch of weapons for free. It is good whether for trade or for personal use, but it will not leave any loopholes in the market world. After visiting the martial arts training ground, he planned to place the geothermal hot spring. This was quite simple. He had already thought of the location just now and placed it directly behind the shelter next to the rock wall. There is nearly 2,000 square meters of space behind the shelter that has been useless. He plans to cultivate a field there in the future and place the hot spring there as a backup water source. When he arrived at the predetermined location, he placed the geothermal hot spring model under the rock wall, stood up and made way for the space. The model turned into a virtual image of about 20 square meters. The virtual image quickly solidified, and soon a hot spring pool appeared in front of him. This was the first time Chen Xiai saw a hot spring. He looked at the geothermal hot spring pool curiously. The edge of the hot spring was a circle of bluestones. Through the water, he could vaguely see a thick layer of pebbles at the bottom of the pool. The spring should be hidden under the pebbles. In the center of the hot spring pool, there is a round stone pillar sticking out of the water. The top of the stone pillar is slightly sunken into a bowl shape. If you look closely, there is a drop of milky white liquid inside. According to the reminder information when it was built, the hot spring pool has a self-purification function. The stone pillars are where the spiritual spring milk gathers. The milky white liquid should be the spiritual spring milk. Chen Xiai was overjoyed. The atmosphere of the ruins world actually comes with a drop of spiritual spring milk. He quickly took off his shoes without taking off his clothes. He entered the hot spring pool wearing a cat print combat uniform. His combat uniform could avoid water and he was not afraid of his clothes getting wet. The depth of the water in the pool was about 1.2 meters. He walked slowly to the stone pillar and directly put his soul into the hot spring pool. Spring milk is added to the inventory. This is life-saving medicine and must be carried with you. Chen Xiai was a little worried about the grid in his inventory. He was carrying more and more things with him, and it was becoming increasingly insufficient. Returning to the front yard, Chen Xiai passed by Arrow Tower. The moment he saw the Horned Queen, he suddenly remembered what he had forgotten yesterday. Quickly walking into the space at the bottom of the Arrow Tower, the Gu King beehive was waiting quietly in the corner. He forgot to check the situation of the Chinese honeybee yesterday to determine the direction of evolution. Quickly check the bee properties. Chinese honeybee queen. Level 1. Quality, rare. Attributes, increase bee colony control by 50%, improve honey quality by 50%. Introduction: the queen bee who wins the gladiatorial battle can control more bees. At the same time, under its influence, the quality of honey will be greatly improved. Then came the reminder from the Gu King beehive. Please select the evolutionary direction of the Chinese honeybee colony. Chen Xiai did not hesitate. Logistics direction. The attributes of the queen bee have the greatest bonus to logistics, so this must be the most suitable direction for the Chinese honeybee colony. With the direction of evolution determined, the Gu King beehive once again fed back information to Chen Xiai, to the effect that there was still one bee colony left to fully activate the capabilities of the Gu King beehive. Chen Xiai couldn't help but be stunned. He always thought that the current ability was all that this second-level equipment had. He didn't expect that it would take 3 swarms of swarms to complete the equipment's activation. Withdrawing his thoughts, he picked up the bee colony controller on the beehive, and Chen Xiai directed the queen bee to find a location to build a nest around the shelter. After receiving Chen Xi's order, the queen bee did not fly to other places, but actually chose to build a nest in the bottom space of the arrow tower. Yes, the space at the bottom of the arrow tower is sturdy and spacious, which is very suitable for them. Before leaving, Chen Xiai checked the number of bee colonies through the beehives. Currently, there are 1,200 bees in the horn bee colony and 11,000 bees in the A. Sarana bee colony. Chapter 37: Physical Improvement. After finishing his busy work, Chen Xiai returned to the martial arts training ground. After exercising, he took out a red fruit from the inventory and ate it. As he began to practice the sword technique, Chen Xiai immediately realized the usefulness of the martial arts training ground. When he usually practiced the Xuanqiu sword technique, he often needed to practice it more than 2 times before he could get rid of distracting thoughts and devote himself to practice. But this time he had a very good practice experience. He had just started practicing, and he had already successfully suppressed distracting thoughts and entered a state of selfless practice. Chen Xiai, who practiced selflessly, could only feel the light flashing from time to time, and the understanding of Xuanqiu sword technique in his mind became more profound and comprehensive. Chen Xiai woke up suddenly. He felt his muscles trembling all over his body and his bones cracking. His body suddenly tightened and a feeling of relief spread throughout his body. Chen Xiai breathed slowly and chaotically, and carefully felt the changes in his body. The muscles on his body were clear, smooth and powerful. They moved up and down with his movements, full of a sense of speed and power. Looking up and looking around, his sight experience has also changed. He has grown taller, and his tall and straight posture combined with the previous battle has given him a strong aura, which is completely different from the previous blue star. Chen Xiai weighed the iron knife, feeling the obviously lighter weight. His heart moved, and he concentrated on opening the personal attributes panel that he had not looked at for a long time. Personal attributes. Name: Chen Xiai. Level: Level 0. Physique: 7. Spirit: 6. Perception: 5. Energy: 0. Skill: Xuanqiu sword technique, proficiency 27%. Talent skill: Synthesis, level 1. Sure enough, no wonder the sword feels lighter. My physique has increased by 1 point, and my sword skill proficiency has also increased a lot. This martial arts training ground is really good. At this rate, it won't take long for me to master Xuanqiu sword skills. Chen Simon with a happy face. Desheng Xuanqiu sword technique can increase his constitution by 2 points, which is not far from the level 0 10 points. We are about to see the first level. After the joy, Chen Xiai withdrew his thoughts and realized that it was already noon, and he felt hungry. His body full of strength could not shield the hunger in his stomach. Take out the barbecue grill from the kitchen, put on the charcoal, quickly light it with a flint, select 3 high-quality antelope steaks, serve them with cumin and salt. Today you want to eat pure roast lamb. While waiting for the barbecue, Chen Xiai unknowingly gnawed a portion of dry food. The dry food was digested as soon as it reached his stomach. His appetite became larger, and his stomach was like a pulverizer, quickly decomposing the food. Use chopsticks to pick up the fragrant barbecue and put it into your mouth, chewing it carefully. Every bite is satisfying and the taste is very satisfying. The high-quality lamb chops are high in energy. I'm already 80% full after eating them all. My physical fitness has improved today, probably thanks to the meat chops. Chen Xiai recalled the taste of the meat chops with emotion on his face, and then grilled the remaining high-quality lamb chops. Put it in the kitchen and reward yourself with a glass of honey water. There is no need to cook at night. You can eat it after heating it. You should also drink high-quality honey water regularly, just in case your spirit and perception suddenly improve one day. He likes this way of improving his strength. Although the fog outside the shelter did not completely dissipate at noon, the thin fog still shrouded the distance, and the line of sight was still affected. However, it was much better than in the morning, with visibility of about 200 meters. Chen Xiai put on his equipment and prepared to go out. The fog would get bigger and bigger later, and he couldn't sit still. At this moment, a private message alert came from the system, which was sent to him by Song Yerui. Song Yerui 5, Chen Xiai, I made a batch of fertilizer, but the yield is not high. I can only leave you 10 units, and I have to use the rest. It turned out that Chen Xiai wanted to buy some growth liquid to supplement the fire poison thorn vine and try to let it climb over the fence as soon as possible, but he did not expect that no one was selling it on the trading channel. After thinking hard, he remembered that Song Yerui often planted medicinal materials, and thought that she should have channels to get it. Items that promote plant growth are the fertilizers she just mentioned. In his wild thoughts, Chen Xiai did not forget to reply, yes, as much as you want, in exchange for whatever you want. Something is better than nothing. Song Yerui simply said, trade with stones, 100 units of stones. Although Chen Xiai didn't know how much the raw material of fertilizer was worth, just because no one was selling it in the entire trading channel, it was still worth 100 units of stone. Rare things were more valuable. The transaction between the two parties was completed quickly. Everyone was busy during the day, so there was no need to hang up and chat with each other. Xiao Teng, how about giving this fertilizer a try? I'm going out for a trip. Please take good care of your home. I'll reward you with fertilizer when I come back. Chen Xiai applied 5 units of fertilizer to the fire poison thorn vine and told it to be vigilant and protect its shelter. The fire poison thorn vine stretched out a vine and waved it in front of Chen Xiai, which probably meant that there was no problem. Chen Xiai planned to explore further this time. He went to the distant forest. With the skeleton reins, he could ensure the speed of returning home. After leaving the shelter, the horned bee swarm explored the path ahead and ran straight to the south. Chen Sisi checked the animal traps on the way, but unfortunately found nothing, so he could only rearrange them and wait for the destined animal. 3 hours later, Chen Xiai finally reached the edge of the forest. This was the farthest he had ever walked. The journey was not without success. A swarm of horned bees discovered a nest of rabbits. After being paralyzed by their bee venom, they let Chen Xiai break his neck without any resistance and threw all 4 rabbits into his backpack. Chen Xiai didn't want to use his skills to collect these rabbits. Although they were very fat, they were ordinary quality hares after all. It was difficult to collect high-quality meat steaks. It was better to keep them whole and sell them to other survivors in exchange for some materials. I made some miscalculations today. I ran out of time, so I could only explore the outer reaches of the forest, hoping to gain something. He miscalculated the distance and it took more time than he thought. In the dense forest, the sky is divided into strips by tall trees, with mottled light spots scattered from the gaps in the leaves, and shrouded in mist. It feels like entering a mysterious place. Chen Xiai walked in the forest with a serious look on his face. A swarm of horned bees had spread around him, alerting him to dangers in the distance. Among the tall trees, the chirping of birds came and went, echoing in the forest. As he went deeper, rustling sounds sounded from time to time. This was the sound of insects fleeing after being frightened. Although there was a swarm of horned bees clearing the way, Chen Xiai was careful with every step and was highly focused. After all, this was an inaccessible virgin forest, and any situation could happen. Not long after he went deep into the forest, he discovered a resource area, which was a hemlock tree that exuded an alluring blue light under the detection skill. Hemlock, fine, a fine wood that can be used to make bows and arrows. Different from the ebony ironwood he had, this hemlock was very tough and was a good material for making the bow body. I didn't bring any logging tools, and I don't have enough time. Let's write down the location first. Chen Xiai wrote down the location of this resource with a little regret, and could only wait until he had time to cut it down. Continue to move forward, releasing the exploration skills while walking. This is the most convenient way to search. The deeper into the forest, the darker the light becomes. As the sun sets, the fog in the forest becomes thicker and thicker. At first glance, Chen Xiai saw a few hornet wasps flying back to explore the way, and he looked happy. This is a resource point found. Please lead the way. He carefully followed the horned bees around about 10 large trees and quickly approached the beast discovered by the horned bees. At this time, a wolf howl suddenly came from the distance. Chen Xiai paused and his face darkened. Did the horned bee discover a pack of wolves? The swarm is not sure whether the prey it finds is dangerous to Chen Xiai. He is not afraid if there are only 1 or 2 wolves in front of him, but if there are more than 3, he may encounter a crisis. After standing there and hesitating for a long time, Chen Xiai decided to give up the prey in front of him. Wolves are gregarious animals, and one rarely moves alone. The probability of being in front of a pack of wolves is greater than the probability of a lone wolf. He cannot risk his own life. Suddenly, there was a sound of wild animals running in the distance. If you heard it right, the sound was getting louder and louder. It was obviously approaching him quickly, and Chen Xi's expression changed drastically. Could it be that the wolves discovered me? Chapter 38 The Oriole is behind. Although he was flustered, Chen Xiai moved calmly. He put the repeating crossbow into his inventory, looked around, walked quickly to the bottom of a big tree, and climbed up using his hands and feet. Just when he was halfway up, he heard the sound of wild beasts running in his ears. Hearing the sound, he was suddenly nearby. Chen Xiai looked down and saw that the leader was a wild wolf with gray hair, sharp teeth and a sharp nose. No, it's injured. Isn't it looking for me? Chen Xiai keenly noticed that there were several wounds on the big wolf's back, and its gray hair had been dyed red. As he was thinking about it, 2 more figures chased him out from behind. Looking closely, the 2 figures at the back are slightly smaller in size and look slightly like dogs, with short and round heads, small eyes and ears, and brown hair with dark brown spots. In the blink of an eye, Chen Xiai had already climbed up the tree, squatting on a tree branch as thick as his thighs, lowering his head to look at the 2 figures who had just ran out. If I am not mistaken, these should be hyenas. They didn't find me, but they found me. Chase the gray wolf. While thinking about it, the gray wolf running in front suddenly stopped and turned around. With a strong hind leg, he pounced on the hyena running behind him. The 2 hyenas at the back obviously didn't expect that the prey in front could fight back. The one in front was hit in the face by the gray wolf's paw, and let out a muffled scream. The gray wolf kept attacking, opening its fangs and opening its mouth to bite the hyena. Seeing that the injured hyena's neck was about to be bitten by the gray wolf, the hyena behind him arrived in time and also opened its mouth to bite the gray wolf's neck. The gray wolf had no choice but to give up the prey at its mouth and dodge sideways. The hyena number 2 was able to attack fiercely. The hyena number 1, whose head was injured, also reacted and pounced on the gray wolf in unison, bleeding. Chen Xiai on the tree watched the 3 beasts fighting below, calmly took out the repeating crossbow in the inventory, and thought to himself, a one-sided battle is not a good look. Aiming at the opportunity, he activated the ice pattern repeater's built-in skill, and shot a frozen arrow directly at the injured hyena number 1. Hyena number 1 did not expect that there was a third party here, and was shot in the butt by a frozen arrow without any precautions. The unlucky hyena number 1 let out another scream and hurriedly turned back to look for the third person. Before it could notice, the gray wolf jumped up and opened its big mouth to bite the back of hyena number 1's neck. Hyena number 2 behind the gray wolf also opened its big mouth and bit into the belly of the gray wolf, hoping to attack it and save it. The gray wolf's eyes flashed red, and it bit hyena number 1's neck without hesitation. In fact, hyena number 1 had already discovered the charging gray wolf and tried his best to dodge. Unfortunately, his speed was weakened by 50% due to the frozen arrows. He was really dying with his eyes open. After the gray wolf bit through the neck of hyena number 1, hyena number 2 also bit in the abdomen. He stepped back and kicked hyena number 2, which was biting on the abdomen. With a fierce wolf howl, a large piece of meat from the gray wolf's abdomen was bitten off by the hyena. Hyena number 2, who was kicked away, quickly stabilized his body, spit out the wolf meat, and quickly threw down the gray wolf. The two animals rolled together and bit each other. After all, the gray wolf was seriously injured and was almost alive after being bitten a few times. Seeing this, Chen Xiai on the tree raised the repeating crossbow in his hand, opened the bow with both hands, and continuously pulled the trigger. Brush, brush, brush. 6 crossbow arrows were fired at the dominant hyena. The hyena was very keen and sensed danger. He dodged 2 crossbow arrows in a row and was hit by a third one. His body couldn't help but froze, and he was hit by 3 more crossbow arrows. The hyena immediately collapsed to the ground. Chen Xi's expression did not change. He held a repeating crossbow in his hand, aimed at the hyena's eyes motionlessly, and shot an arrow, hitting it accurately. "I won't go down, who knows if you are cheating your death." After shooting the hyena to death, Chen Xiai looked at the trophies on the ground, and his tense muscles could no longer control the corners of his mouth that were about to rise. Putting away the repeating crossbow, he quickly glided across the tree, and at the same time ordered the horned bee swarm to alert all directions. He quickly walked to the 3 beasts and used his gathering skills repeatedly. Obtain wolf meat, blue, *5, wolf teeth, blue, *2, wolf hair, blue, *5. Obtain hyena meat, blue, *6, hyena teeth, blue, *4, animal skin, blue, *2. A pile of high-quality materials exploded, and in addition to the materials above, Chen Xiai also picked up 3 wooden treasure boxes. He quickly cleaned the battlefield, put the materials in his backpack, and put the treasure boxes and meat steaks in his inventory. He recalled the horned bee swarm, and he planned to evacuate the battlefield immediately. The battle just now lasted a long time and might alarm other carnivores. Chen Xiai, who had gained a lot, did not intend to continue taking risks. After a while, on a grassland not far from the edge of the forest, Chen Xiai, who had withdrawn from the battlefield, squatted on the ground and looked at the grass in his hand attentively. After evacuating just now, Chen Xiai changed direction and followed the horned bee swarm to leave the forest. While walking, he used his detection skills on the unfamiliar flowers and plants around him. In his hand was the harvest of his random detection skills. The blue light on the ground just now made him almost faint without any preparation. He just took a cursory glance and found that there must be 40 or 50 plants of this fine medicinal herb scattered on this piece of grass of about 10 square meters. Chen Xiai read the system introduction and couldn't help but smile. Is this what it feels like to lower your head and pick up money? It's really great. Mutated agrimony. Level 0. Quality, boutique. Attribute, increase potion efficacy by 30%. Introduction, a medicinal herb that can be used as a raw material for hemostatic agents, detoxifying agents, and stimulant agents, and has certain anthelmintic effects. After confirming that the herb was a treasure, Chen Xiai immediately started collecting it. The collection of medicinal herbs required him to put his hands on the herbs and collect them one by one. Although the steps were quite cumbersome, Chen Xiai only hated that there were too few medicinal herbs. He found them very carefully and collected them all in about half an hour. Obtain mutated agrimony *58, mutated agrimony seeds *5. Mutated agrimony seeds, high quality, can be planted and reproduced. The 5 mutated seeds are definitely an unexpected surprise. The seeds can be reproduced, which indicates that if the planting is successful, Chen Xiai will have a field of crane herbs in the future. Carefully collecting the agrimony and seeds, Chen Xiai hurriedly stood up and walked towards the edge of the forest. When he walked out of the forest, the sky had darkened. The heavy fog with visibility less than 100 meters blocked the sun and made the sky darken faster. Chen Xiai stood in the open space outside the forest, took out the king goo beehive, and waved all the horn bees to enter the beehive. Only the horn bee queen was left on Chen Xi's shoulder to guide the way. He waved the skeleton reins with his right hand, summoned the skeleton horse, and got on the horse. He held the reins tightly in his right hand and carried the Goo King beehive in his left hand. With a thought, the skeleton horse ran towards the shelter. I don't know if it was because the skeleton horse was too fast and the beasts couldn't catch up with Chen Ci. He returned to the shelter without any danger. Chapter 39 Making Friends and Having a Heart-to-Heart Relationship. Returning to the shelter, Chen Ci first put the Goo King beehive into the arrow tower, took out 50 grams of royal jelly and rewarded it to the horn bee queen. The Chinese bees in the arrow tower have become accustomed to the surrounding environment and are working hard to build a nest. The fire poison thorn vine next to him stretched out its vines to touch Chen Ci, as if to say hello to him. Chen Ci took out the remaining 5 units of fertilizer and applied it next to the main stem. From the consciousness exchange just now, he learned that fertilizer is useful for the fire poison thorn vine and can accelerate its growth. It works, but it's too big, Xiao Teng. This little fertilizer is of no use. Chen Ci shook his head. These fertilizers for the fire poison thorn vine are the same as eating a meal of meat for a man and a half. Although it is useful, it is not realistic to say that it will grow as much as possible after eating it. It has to be eaten every time. He can't do it at the moment. There are not so many resources to support the fire poison thorn vine, so we can only let it grow naturally. This also reflects the preciousness of the previous bottle of nutrient solution, which is worth tens of thousands of units when converted into fertilizer. Chen Ci calmed down the poisonous thorn vine and walked into the stone house. He took off his vine armor and combat uniform and put on sportswear. He immediately felt physically and mentally relaxed. After taking a short break, Chen Ci came to the tool table, cashed out all the 7,000 units of toilet paper that had been produced, and immediately put it on the trading channel at the price of 2 units of wood. As the scale of toilet paper production expands, the time required for tool table production is also getting longer and longer. It already takes a day to produce 7,000 units of toilet paper. If the production is increased, the production time will definitely exceed 1 day. It seems that the production task of 7,000 units of toilet paper is the limit of the level 2 tool table. It takes exactly 1 day. The order is placed at night and sold the next night. The production volume cannot be increased. The stocking time is too long. If something happens, it will not be possible in time. Reaction. The previous plunge in the price of small bucklers made him resentful, and he did not dare to increase production. If during the mass production of toilet paper, the price suddenly plunged or even oversupply caused a backlog, he would not be able to cancel production, and he would lose money. Big. While he was thinking about it, he had finished putting the toilet paper on the shelf. Chen Ci left the workroom and went to the kitchen to take out the lamb chops that he had grilled during the day and lit the stove to heat it. Staring at the heated meat in the pot, Chen Ci sighed with emotion. I came back late today, so let's just eat something simple, lamb chops, instant noodles, and a glass of honey water. But he didn't realize how hateful his words would be if posted to the chat channel. It's probably impossible for the bosses of the Survival League to eat high-quality lamb chops and high-quality drinks. Chen Ci, who had eaten and drank enough, teased Xiao Bai out of boredom. You don't even greet the master when he comes back. He unceremoniously grabbed Xiao Bai from the nest, ignoring its short legs that were dancing wildly, and rubbed its little head fiercely. This little thing adapts so quickly. Yesterday he was still on the verge of death, but now he is at ease. When he saw Chen Ci come back, he just raised his eyelids and continued to lie in his nest and sleep. Chen Ci glanced at its lunchbox. A lot of food and honey had gone down. This little thing had a good appetite and had already lived a life of food and clothing. It was much more comfortable than his owner. Seeing that he couldn't resist his master's big hand, Xiao Bai resigned himself to his fate and lay down, looking like he was doing whatever he wanted. After teasing for a while, Chen Ci led Xiao Bai to the wooden table, grabbed the backpack, and poured out the harvest inside. He still had 3 treasure chests that he had not opened. Xiao Bai shares his luck with the master. The box is opened and he will bring you delicious food and delicious food. There will be enough honey and water pipes. Chen Ci waved his hand grandly, and Xiaobai didn't know whether he understood it or not. Anyway, when he said that the honey water pipe was enough, it danced happily. The 3 treasure chests were lined up on the table. They were all made of wood, and there was no way to distinguish the good from the bad. Chen Xiai touched Xiaobai and opened them one by one. Get cashmere quilt *1, autumn clothes and trousers *1, thick leather hat *1, plastic *20, glass *20, compressed biscuits *20, canned beef *20, winter wheat seeds, blue, *10, solar street lamp *1. There was a burst of white light, and a pile of things appeared on the table. The pile was so high. This feeling of harvest was great, and Chen Xiai happily counted it. 3 treasure chests and 9 items. Needless to say, plastic and glass, they are all basic materials and are stored in the warehouse. The cashmere quilts are also put in the warehouse first. The temperature is still above 0. I can't use such a thick quilt yet. Autumn clothes, autumn trousers and thick leather hats are winter clothes. Put them together with the cotton clothes Lu Xiaoye gave me before. Compressed biscuits and canned beef have a long shelf life. They can be used as strategic supplies or as dry food when you go out for a long time in the future. They should be received in the kitchen first. Solar street lights, let's install this at the gate of the fence after dawn tomorrow, so that we can see some of the outside conditions at night. The last and only high-quality harvest is winter wheat seeds. Let me check the properties first. Winter wheat seeds, boutique. Winter wheat with strong cold resistance can grow normally in the cold winter of the market world, and can be planted and reproduced. After Chen Xiai carefully read the introduction to winter wheat seeds, he felt overjoyed. Long live Xiaobai, it's so awesome, I won't buy it for $1,000. These are seeds that can be reproduced. With these seeds, as long as they are handled properly, I will no longer have to worry about food in the future. With reproducible seeds, after several generations of planting, he can have a stable source of food. Food no longer only depends on hunting and searching for treasure chests, which can provide an unparalleled sense of security. After collecting the winter wheat seeds carefully, Chen Xiai wished he could go out to reclaim the land and plant the seeds now. However, he knew that he lacked experience in farming, and he wanted to be taught by professionals if he wanted to harvest. Chen Xiai immediately thought of someone. Just in time, I have to contact her to take a look at the agrimony harvested in the afternoon. He immediately sent a private message to Song Yerui, and also sent a brief introduction to the properties of agrimony. A moment later, Miss Song's message came back. How much agrimony are there and how many supplies do you want? I want them all. It seems that agrimony is of great use to Song Yerui. It's rare to see her so impatient. Chen Xiai secretly marveled. Most of the impressions Song Yerui gave him before were that he was calm at every turn. She had a calm and unhurried energy. Chen Xiai didn't tease her, he said truthfully, there are 58 plants, all of them are of high quality. Song Yerui was much calmer at this time and did not beat around the bush. Give it all to me. Just now the system prompted that water of life and detoxification potions can use agrimony as the main ingredient. With these agrimony and some auxiliary ingredients, I can make it. 8 bottles of water of life and 6 bottles of antidote. Seeing this, Chen Xiai couldn't help but look moved. He had used the water of life before, which could instantly heal minor injuries, which was equivalent to a life in battle. Chen Xiai also put away his nonchalant heart and said seriously, are you sure you can make 8 bottles of water of life? Are you kidding? Song Yerui replied with inexplicable emotions, nonsense, am I kidding now? Where did you find so many high-quality medicinal materials? It took me so long to purchase a total of 3 bottles of raw materials. This batch of high-quality herbs had a great impact on Song Yerui. She had not stopped looking for the main ingredients since she got the blueprint of the water of life. Until now, she had only managed to get 3 copies, but Chen Xiai took out 10 main ingredients at once. If she didn't have enough auxiliary materials, she could make 10 copies of water of life. Song Yerui paused and then said, I will provide the auxiliary materials, I will only leave 2 bottles of the water of life, and I will give you all the detoxification potions, how about that? Chen Xiai hesitated after seeing Song Yerui's quotation. He had no objection to the price. What he hesitated about was whether it was appropriate to hand over all the agrimony to Song Yerui. Can he trust her? Seeing that Chen Xiai didn't reply, Song Yerui on the opposite side thought he had left 2 bottles of water of life, so she couldn't help but explain, the supplementary materials I provided also took a long time to collect, and their value is no more than 2 bottles of water of life. The water is low, and my main purpose for doing this is to practice my skills. Chen Xiai, who was deep in thought, was awakened by the sound of a private message notification. He recalled Song Yerui's help without asking for anything in return, and couldn't help but laugh at himself. Chen Xiai, when did you start taking the extravagant wealth so seriously? Initiate transaction request. Sale item agrimony *58, trade item wood *1. Chen Xiai agreed to the price. Just do what you said. Chen Xiai looked at the agrimony seeds in the inventory and thought to himself, it's just 58 units of agrimony. I can't afford to lose it. When dealing with people, you have to be sincere. Song Yerui was stunned when she received the transaction application. She had just been distracted by the agrimony. She was excited about the purchase, ignored the value of this batch of herbs, and forgot to discuss with Chen Xiai what kind of mortgage to provide to ensure that both parties completed the follow-up. Trade. Song Yerui hurriedly replied, Chen Xiai, wait a moment, I'm going to the trading channel to buy a contract scroll. I was so excited just now that I forgot about the contract. Chen Xiai smiled, no need for a contract, I believe in you. The establishment of a sense of trust requires the joint efforts of both parties, with back and forth. Without Song Yerui's previous free medicines, Chen Xiai would not have complete trust at this time. Chapter 40 Being Remembered. Song Yerui was very moved when she saw Chen Xi's words, I believe in you. However, the big heart she developed while working in the hospital allowed her to quickly withdraw her thoughts and calm down her mood, but she could not suppress the smile between her eyebrows. He murmured, if you believe me, I won't let you down. She raised her lips and replied, okay, I'll make the potion right now, and I'll contact you when it's finished. After speaking, without waiting for Chen Xi's reply, he accepted the agrimony and hurried to the workroom. As soon as Chen Xiai read the message, he hurriedly said, wait a minute, I have one more thing to ask you. After waiting for a while, I didn't receive a reply from the other party. Chen Xi's expression collapsed, and the smile froze on his face, isn't it right? Are you so arrogant? After a while, he was sure that he couldn't wait for Song Yerui's reply, so he could only postpone the inquiry about seed planting and devote his energy to other things. Chen Xiai sent a private message to ask about Lu Xiaoye's preparations. She has been busy collecting cotton fields for the past 2 days. It is expected that she will be able to collect the entire cotton field tomorrow. Due to energy problems, food and water are not fully prepared, but she plans to spend the evening just go to the trading channel to buy some food. There was no need to worry about the water reserves. Chen Xiai had previously said in their small group that he would fetch water on the last day, and Lu Xiaoye had already made a reservation with him in advance. Lu Xiaoye needs to keep an eye on the trading channel information to purchase food. The two simply exchanged information and quickly hung up the chat box. Chen Xiai then replied to Wang Lei's message. This Wang Lei was very perseverant and contacted him at a fixed time every day to report the situation. Chen Xiai came back late today, but Wang Lei's message had been sent long ago. Browsing Wang Lei's message, Chen Xiai didn't care at first, but slowly frowned. After reading the message Wang Lei sent, the message finally said that the Blood Evil Alliance planned to kill the chicken to scare the monkeys, and wanted to kill him so that other people in the regional channel could see the betrayal of the Blood Evil. The fate of the alliance. Chen Xiai thought for a while and asked Wang Lei directly, Wang Lei, you said that the Blood Evil Alliance wants to kill you, what's going on? Wang Lei was obviously waiting for Chen Xiai, and the message came back instantly, Brother Chen, help me. Today the law enforcement hall of the Blood Evil Alliance threatened me and said that they would teach me a lesson and let others see the consequences of offending the Blood Evil Alliance. Chen Xiai was puzzled by this and said, how did they find you? How could they go over to find you? Wang Lei obviously had no answer, Brother Chen, I don't know how the Blood Evil Alliance used it to locate me, but I know how they came to find me. This is what they sent to me." He said that Wang Lei then sent Chen Xiai a brief introduction to the item. Portal, one-time use, open the portal and you can teleport to the designated location. The teleportation location needs to be marked in advance. After reading the item introduction sent by Wang Lei, Chen Xiai also felt very troubled. There is such an item, and it is still in the hands of the Blood Evil Alliance. Wang Lei continued, "Brother Chen, you must save me and help me find a way. Otherwise, I am dead, and the Blood Fiend Alliance will definitely kill me if they find me." Chen Xiai felt a little headache. What could he do? He could only appease Wang Lei first. This kind of item is of high value and should be very rare. The Blood Fiend Alliance doesn't have many, let alone waste it on you. I guess at most 1 or 2 people will be sent to your place, and you have no chance of winning. Do you know when they will arrive? Wang Lei immediately replied, "I can't beat 1 or 2 people. They didn't say when exactly, but I heard from a friend in the Blood Demon League that they are no longer recruiting people now. They plan to test them and recruit new ones in the future. It will be very soon. Maybe you can use me as a sacrifice." Chen Xiai continued to ask, "Then you have been preparing quickly recently to set up some traps in the shelter. Do you have any long-range weapons? If not, I will support you with a repeating crossbow. If you are well prepared, it will be easy to kill the 2 people from the Blood Evil Alliance." Question. Wang Lei quickly thanked, "Thank you, Brother Chen. I will try my best to prepare. I will leave it to you when the time comes. It would be great if you could come over. We will definitely win 2 versus 2. When Chen Xiai saw this message, he couldn't help but feel a strange feeling in his heart. Wang Lei sent another message asking Chen Xiai how to set up a trap. Chen Xiai, whose train of thought was interrupted, immediately told him the method of making traps that he knew. After giving some guidance, Chen Xiai hung up the chat on the grounds that he was busy. Wang Lei hung up the chat with an expressionless expression, and his expression suddenly became flattering. He turned to look behind him and reported the good news, "Boss, that Chen Xiai is about to take the bait. If I beg him a few more times, I can trade the Hearthstone to him. Tell him I bought it at a high price and lure him over." In front of Wang Lei's flattering smile is a wooden Taisher chair. On the chair lies a burly man, wearing a black training suit. The bulging muscles stretch the training suit like a tight suit. His face is full of flesh, giving people a fierce look. Suddenly, 2 plump young women in cool clothes were squatting next to the Taisher chair. They were massaging the burly man's thighs with smiles on their faces. The burly man's eyes opened slightly after hearing Wang Lei's reply, and he glanced at Wang Lei who was bent down and smiling. "Cyan, this Chen Xiai has a lot of supplies in his hands. You promised to trick him into it before. You also asked me for an extra blueprint. If it fails in the end, I won't punish you considering your recent achievements. However, without Chen Xi's batch of supplies, those people outside may starve to death. A few, I don't know if they blame you." After saying that, he closed his eyes without looking at the shivering Wang Lei and continued to enjoy the services of the 2 beautiful young women. Returning to Chen Xiai, he pondered for a long time but failed to grasp the inspiration just now, and thought hard to no avail. However, this matter also reminded him that the internal defense of the shelter must also be put on the agenda, in case someone can teleport directly in. Shelters, fences and arrow towers are useless. I don't know where these teleportations can reach the shelter. I can't dig traps everywhere. The internal defense is impatient, and we don't know enough about the transmission mechanism to be able to defend in a targeted manner. What we need to consider now is how to survive the acid rain test. Thinking of the acid rain test, Chen Xiai opened the trading channel and saw that the toilet paper on the shelves had been sold out. Most of them were large purchases, probably from the Survivor League. The more big customers like this, the better. Obtain wood *14,000. After collecting the wood, he assigned the task of producing 7,000 units of toilet paper on the tool table again. Chen Xiai remembered that he wanted to purchase iron blocks during the day, so he opened Liu Yang's private message and asked directly, "I need to exchange a batch of iron blocks. How many can you sell? What's the deal?" Lu Yang is a deep internet addict and never leaves the chat channel. Brother, what deal are you talking about? How much do you want? My brother will give it to you. Chen Ci took a deep breath, and a black line appeared on his forehead. Let's get down to business. Do you have 500 units? Lu Yang was not embarrassed and smiled. Just kidding, brother Chen, I still have 300 units left. Chen Ci was not polite to him. I want all 300 units, what should I exchange for them? When it came to the price, Lu Yang's expression became serious and he replied seriously, Brother Chen, just follow the market price. I want 1,000 units of wood and 400 units of stone. Although Lu Yang likes to be funny, the price is very real. On the market, 1 unit of iron can be exchanged for 5 units of wood or 4 units of stone, but conversely, it is not easy to trade, and a certain premium is often required. Chen Ci stopped talking nonsense and sent him a transaction application directly. Obtain iron nuggets *300. After completing the transaction, Chen Ci told Lu Yang that there was a piece of iron behind him to tell him directly that the long-term acquisition would be long-term. Chen Ci stretched and sighed, I'm finally done with my work. I haven't been idle for a moment since I returned to the shelter. I synthesized something and went to sleep. I don't know when I will get this 007 life. Lying on the recliner, Chen Ci browsed the chat channel comfortably. Now that people have adapted to the life here, it is inevitable to be lonely alone at night. The chat channel can alleviate loneliness, so it is very lively inside every night. Time flies so fast, it's late at night in a blink of an eye. Don't be addicted anymore. Go and rest after completing the synthesis and drawing of cards. Chen Ci left the chat channel with a look of reluctance, lowered his head and touched Xiaobai on his leg. Come on, it's time for you to contribute to this family again. You are listening to it in Eugene Light Novels.